up, Woodward. We are starting off your day with a brand new crew. Meet Broder.
I can't control my arms sometimes. My limbs are just kind of flying.
Detroit Kool-Aid.
Fired up!
Y'all got Kool-Aid
I'm
high.
fired up! But with the Wake Up Woodward crew, he's actually a part of the family.
Flannel Sam.
Ask me about my wiener! Okay.
Along with JB and KG. Wake Up Woodward gets you all of your Detroit sports talk. Every morning, 8 to 10 a.m. Live on Woodward Sports. A show for Detroit, by Detroit, with people from Detroit. Tell Siri to set an alarm. Because it's time to Wake Up Woodward.
Hey, what is going on, everybody? Welcome to Wake Up Woodward live on the Woodward Sports Network. I am Flannel Sam. Detroit Kool-Aid actually just walked in, so we're going to get to him in just a second. We got Justin in the sound booth holding it down until KG gets here. And when KG gets here, Justin is going to transition into the couch, so he will be with us all day. We got Chase in the chair, and we got JB Smoove in the TD booth. And one thing I gotta say before we get started, which is a very on-brand, snarky, spicy Flannel. Now that the Milwaukee Bucks won the NBA Cup and Giannis was the star of the team, now the NBA Cup actually matters. It's actually used as an accolade. When LeBron won it, it was Mickey Mouse. When anybody else does it, it actually matters. And you know it's true, which is why I've always said that the bubble championship would not be treated the same way if anybody other than LeBron won it. But now that we got that out of the way, I noticed something yesterday when I was scrolling through just my timeline and whatnot when I had myself a little bit of a day off, but I'm always plugged in to some extent, is that Michael Penix Jr. is taking over as the starter for the Atlanta Falcons. And it reminded me of something, and this is where I have to give a mea culpa, and this is where the Flannel Was Wrong surprised title came from. Prior to the season, I was very high on the Atlanta Falcons. I thought they had a chance to get the 1 seed in the NFC. I thought that Kirk Cousins would be the most impactful signing in the offseason, and I thought that Matthew Judon would be close behind. But not only has it not worked out that way, Kirk Cousins is now riding the bench. It started off pretty good. They were 6-3. Kirk Cousins was putting up some pretty good numbers, but in Kirk Cousins' last 5 games, the Atlanta Falcons are 1-4, and he's thrown 1 touchdown to 9 interceptions, doing his best Nathan Peterman impersonation, and now they are 7-7. And not only that, Matthew Judon has had a very disappointing 3.5 sacks. The Atlanta Falcons are 8th worst in the NFL in points allowed per game. Justin Simmons has been a bit of a bust signing, and Jesse Bates hasn't been quite as good as he was last year. This year he's been good, but last year to me he was the best safety in the NFL. So yeah, seeing that Kirk Cousins was benched was very sobering for old Flannel Sam, and I was very much wrong, to paraphrase the great Colin Cowherd, where Flannel was wrong. And now, Detroit Kool-Aid, we've got him in the house. It's a good to be back with you today.
Good to see you. I'm loving this flannel too, man. I'm seeing the block him on the front side.
Yes.
What is the maze that I see over there on the right? Oh, beautiful.
Yes.
Beautiful. I mean, I knew
got
what it
this
was.
for Christmas.
I just wanted to see it again. What up, though, people? Chat family, as always, you guys are the most important part of this thing. Go ahead and smash that like button, and let's have a day. We got the whole crew in here. You know what? And shout out to our brother Matthew Broder, too. But while you were gone, we did get to talk about those Detroit Pistons. I know that the legend, Rod Beard, he had to be a late scratch for today, but we are going to be able to potentially, I'm going to try and get him back on this week if we can. If not, he will be back with us next week. But there's a lot going on today in the Pistons world. A couple of events that we will be at. So tomorrow or Friday, we will have some content from some of these Pistons players, including Malik Beasley. So it's going to be dope. It's going to be dope, man. Shout out to Joey as well. We're going to be talking to Tim Hardaway.
Oh, which Tim Hardaway, junior or senior?
I know both are in town, but junior.
Well, junior.
I got to see senior the other night after the game.
I know you guys. Hey, he must have been a very proud papa that night, because I know you guys talked about it, but Tim Hardaway Jr.
He was in the Players Club chilling, bro. He was just back there like cheesing.
Dude.
Those 3 straight threes. I mean, I know people were like, dang it, on that inbounds pass, but you know what? They don't have the opportunity to win that game without what Tim Hardaway did.
No chance at all, but who hit Tim Hardaway Jr. right in stride for all 3 of those threes?
Talk about it.
It's Cade Cunningham. And don't get me wrong, I know that a lot of people were ready to pounce after his subpar last 4 or 5 minutes of the fourth quarter, in which he wasn't good enough, but he did make up for it to some extent in overtime, with help, of course, from Tim Hardaway Jr.
But you know what starts tomorrow, right?
What does start tomorrow?
All-Star voting. We're going to talk about it in Woodward Pistons segment because this guy, Cade Cunningham, he absolutely deserves to be an All-Star. We've seen this from several national publications, and we'll talk about it again during that segment, that if the Pistons were just sitting around postseason positioning, which included the play-in, that they would say, you know what, Cade Cunningham deserves to be in. And with the new format that's coming on the way, I don't see how they leave him off. They did make an announcement to the format. Kevin Durant thinks it's dumb. But you know what? If it gets Cade Cunningham to the All-Star game, bravo. Bravo,
whatever
NBA.
It takes.
Bravo, man. Because, seriously, when we talk about the NBA, you saw the report that the numbers are down.
Yeah.
I know that for all of us, I look around the room, I believe all of us or most of our crew are basketball junkies.
Yeah.
Both college, and I'm looking at Justin. He's just looking at me like, yep, both college and professional and high school and rec league. I'm still tracking my CFL church league. Like, we're hoop heads. So to me to see that, I'm just like, what? How is this the case? But it is the case. Those are the numbers. And so I do believe that this is a chance for the NBA to try and reclassify what a star means in the NBA. Because we know what some of our players over the years have done, but they haven't gotten that shine because of the way that they generally call or look at big markets. So it's going to be interesting to see how this all-star platform kind of works to elevate some of those other players that probably deserve to have the spotlight shined on them too.
Well, and Cade Cunningham is right at the top of the list. Of course, assuming that he still continues to play at an all-star level and the Pistons continue to at least stay at that last play-in spot pace at absolute minimum. But yeah, the All-Star game has certainly been something that has faced heavy criticism in the last few years. And to some extent, I don't necessarily even blame people for being turned off by it. So they're trying to shake things up a bit, but it's definitely hard for me to understand because no matter what, even with the influx of like 3-point shooting and load management and the perceived lack of defense, I am going to be an NBA head pretty much till the day I die. It just is who I am.
Forever.
Yeah.
Now, Flannel, you weren't here yesterday. I got to just kind of get your take on these things. The Lions have been decimated by injuries, and I know we're going to talk about Dan Campbell, who, you know what? Is it safe to say that he got the entire state of Michigan in one pride all over the world absolutely fired up after yesterday's appearance on the flagship radio station?
Yeah.
People are, you know what? I think people are starting to believe again because that's what Dan Campbell does. This team, they're not where they are right now, without him. And the motivation that he's able to bring. And we've heard the players talk about the fact that, you know what, he's a player. He's been through all these situations. He understands this. It feels like, and I've heard this now about several of their coaches. They've even said this about Aaron Glenn. It feels like he'd be out there with us. And that to me I think is so different. These coaches are connected to their players, and the players are trusting in the coaches, and rightfully so. You got some of the best in the league. If there's any that can do it, it's going to be those guys. But you're talking about David Montgomery, who, almost like Undertaker, is like, hey, wait, I'm not dead yet. Look, I might have an opportunity to come back. Aiden Hutchinson said the same thing. I don't know how much I'm going to count on those because there's some pretty bad injuries. But when you also look at the fact that they just lost Carlton Davis and Aleem McNeil, where do they go from here, for your perspective?
Well, I'll tell you what. I'll give you a preview now of what I think, because when we get to the Dan Campbell quotes and the just his snippets from his interview on the flagship, I've got a lot to say about that. Some of it you're going to like, some of it you're not. And when I say some of it you're not, I probably include even people in this room. But it's okay. We can have a discussion. It is going to be a hell of a discussion, and we might even get some fireworks. But the reality is that the injuries that happened to Carlton Davis, Aleem McNeil, and David Montgomery, it's going to make it a lot tougher. Have the Lions showed that they can next man up it in a way that I pretty much have never seen in NFL history? Absolutely they have. But there's certainly a level of still, despite the Dan Campbell quotes, I wouldn't say doubt. I wouldn't say lack of hope. I wouldn't say lack of belief. It still feels like a little bit of a gut punch to me. I want to see how this team looks moving forward. The good news is you get a matchup against the Bears on the road and the 49ers on the road. Two teams that I think have proven to be less formidable than we thought that they would be coming into the season. The Bears, maybe. The 49ers, definitely. I think people thought that, including maybe us in this room, thought that the 49ers might be the number one competition to the Lions in the NFC this year like they were last year, but they are going to miss the playoffs, mostly because they've been decimated by injuries but haven't been able to handle it as well as the Detroit Lions. And then you have a home game against the Minnesota Vikings, which is going to be tough, but that looks like, seeing as how the Vikings continue to win as well and somehow have the exact same record as the Lions, that might be for the division. But I believe those are all three winnable games, whether you are injured or not. I think the question is how they're going to look in the playoffs, and you might get some people back. But Dan Campbell, he riled up Detroit in a way that only he could do. I will just say that. There's one man in the entire universe that could rile up Detroit like he did, and he did on the flagship. So shout out to Costa and Jansen as well for facilitating that whole thing.
Hey, yeah, definitely, man. It was well done, and it gave, I believe, Dan Campbell the perfect platform to be able to go on there and sound off and really be that rallying cry, not just for the city, but for his players as well. To see him go up there and stoically be as cool, calm, and collected as he was. Jared Goff, the same thing. These guys don't seem rattled, and they haven't seen rattled the entire time. Even when we look at Jared Goff, sometimes people wonder where the emotion is. But you know what? I'm also not seeing him rattled right now when most of one pride is out there saying, well, I don't see how they can be Super Bowl contenders. I don't see how they can get back. This is what I like about this squad, and now we're going to see. It's another test of adversity. This one is going to be a big one, but if there is a squad that is equipped to do it, why not this one? Look at how much they've already overcome. And that, to me, if Dan Campbell believes, because he knows what he's seeing in front of him, until it fails, I have to believe. I have to. So, you know what? Let's get into this next segment so we can actually hear from Dan Campbell those comments. But want to know where the best pregame Lions party is for Monday night? Monday Night Football against the 49ers on December 30th. Join us at Detroit's very own Second Best Bar, located at 42 Watson Street, for the ultimate fan experience. You get to enjoy a little smooth Tullamore Dew Irish whiskey while catching the Woodward Sports pregame show only at Second Best Bar. Come get some.
Walk into any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men today. Open 7 days a week. Sit back, relax, and enjoy precision haircut, scalp massage, hot leather neck shave, and hot towel treatment from one of our talented stylists. Step up your game this season and take advantage of our $20 haircut special. Scan the QR code and get your coupon today. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, the ultimate haircut experience. Open 7 days a week. Walk-ins always welcome. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. It's wicked awesome.
Big injuries, big news. Twice a week, Dr. Jeff Pierce from Michigan Sports and Spine joins Woodward Sports Network for the Injury Insider Report. Big D Energy Tuesdays at noon, and Ermanni and Edwards with Maz Thursdays at 3:30. Get expert analysis and in-depth breakdowns on the latest sports injuries from the man trusted by top athletes in the community, like D-Mac. Whether it's the Lions, Pistons, Tigers, or Red Wings, Dr. Pierce talks us through it all. Don't miss the Injury Insider Report with Dr. Jeff Pierce, your go-to source for understanding the impact of injuries on the games and players we love. Only on Woodward Sports Network. Scan the QR code on the screen or go to MichiganSportsandSpine.com to see if Dr. Jeff Pierce can help you.
Feldman Chevrolet, Michigan's #1 Chevy dealer, is kicking off the game with the best prices on all cars, trucks, and SUVs, like this 2024 Silverado for just $296 a month, or this 2025 Equinox for as low as $371 a month. Our locations in Novi, Highland, New Hudson, Livonia, and Lansing means we have the perfect Chevy right in your backyard. Get the home team advantage every day at Feldman Chevrolet, Michigan's #1 Chevy dealer.
Love Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on Shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Woodward Golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
Are you overdue for a new car? Beat the holiday rush and get an amazing deal from Les Stanford Chevrolet. Right now, a Blazer EV2LT with all-wheel drive is only $149 per month. Or check out the Equinox EV-LT for only $169 per month. Get to Les Stanford today or click on the QR code on the screen and check out our massive inventory. Don't forget Les Stanford has Cadillac, Buick, and GMC as well. Les Stanford in Dearborn and Ferndale, lesstanford.com.
Hey, and we are back. Goodness gracious, this is Wake Up Woodward. I tried to improvise that Les Stanford ad yesterday, and I thought back to all the times. I remember you having to improvise it and doing so well. And I was like, man, it's so different when it's not one of your regular reads.
Yeah.
So just hearing it so clean, I just, got a chuckle out of it. But, hey, what up, though? People, welcome to Wake Up Woodward. And you know what? I'm fired up. I'm very fired up. Just after the show ended yesterday, Flannel, we got news of this kind of Dan Campbell stuff that was going on. Some people were putting in the chats, and we talked about, hey, look, Dan isn't worried. But then when we actually got an opportunity to hear it, when we actually got an opportunity to see the quotes, I mean, like, the social team went crazy. Travis and Justin, easy number, quote, and it was just like, wait, did we just post 3 of the same graphic? No, it's just Dan Campbell dropping more and more heat. That you already know, man. Fired up is a way of life for Kool-Aid, and right now Dan Campbell's making sure it's a way of life for all of One Pride, man. So, do we got those quotes?
Yes, we got those quotes.
Hey, let's check this out, man.
We got those quotes, and we have the video if we want to play that. So it all depends.
Let's play
the video.
Let's play the video because it's gonna sound a lot better coming from Dan Campbell than it is from me and Kool-Aid, of course. So go ahead and play a snippet from what Dan Campbell said on the flagship with Jim Costa and John Jansen.
You know what happens is, you win 11 in a row, and you lose, and then the sky falls. And I hate to say it, but we're not going to be able to win 11 in a row again for the rest of this season. We're just not going to be able to do it. And, what happens is you get used to eating filet, and I'm talking to all of us, and, well, everything's good. Life's good, but you forgot what it was like when you had nothing and you ate your molded bread, and it was just fine, and it gave you everything you needed. And sometimes you got to get punched in the mouth and remember what it used to be like to really appreciate where you are. And we'll do that. And so we got a bad taste in our mouth. We got kicked around the other day. We lost a few guys. And you know what? It's exactly what we needed. This is exactly what we needed. So we're going to bounce back. We're going to respond. We got guys that are about to have an unbelievable opportunity needed to win. We still got a good offense. We got plenty of defensive players. I can go rattle them off right now. We're going to put the best 11 on the field. We're going to freaking cut it loose. We're going to play with our special teams. And I don't give a crap if we got to win by 1 point for the rest of the year. That's what we're going to do. And I'm going to be happy about it. We come out of the game with 50 yards of total offense and we win by 1, you're going to see smiles on my face. I promise you. All right? If it's the other way defensively, we give up 700 yards and we win by 1 point, you're going to see a smile from my ear to ear. All right? I can promise you. So we're going to find a way and we're going to get it done.
You already know I'm fired up. Boy, I'm fired up, dog. I'm telling you, the coaches really stepping front and center with this thing. Jared Goff stepping front and center, the leaders of this kind of renaissance for Detroit Lions football. That's what gets me fired up because everybody is going to follow after and fight as hard as the general is going to. I believe in the fight that this team can muster up. I believe in the schemes that these coaches can do to make sure that they can overcome, man, all of these losses. I keep seeing the list everywhere I turn. 17 players, CBS, ESPN, NFL Today, NFL Network, this place, that place, every blog, everywhere. I had to check ours to see if we put it up. I was like, nope, we just focus on right now Dan Campbell and all that. I know at some point in time we have to because it's news. It's news. But just to know that these guys have this mentality of not being defeated and that we have some dogs on this roster who are not going to be defeated. And we still have a whole lot more dogs, a whole lot more. Like we lost a really, really, really good running back. But how many teams had that luxury? All the other teams that we were facing, I kept hearing them say, hey, they got running back this one, just one. And we were supposed to be concerned with that. And those running backs weren't even better than Jahmyr Gibbs. Now we have Jahmyr Gibbs and still pretty decent backups. And we're supposed to be, cowering in our boots right now? I'm not going to do that. That's not what this team has done all season. And I'm so glad that Dan Campbell is one of those guys that can read the room with his players. I don't believe that he's out there writing a check right now with his mouth that he can't cash.
Sure, and he's never going to BS you. He's never going to not believe in his team. And I think, and it's not just blind faith, by the way, because we've seen them have to play with devastating injuries all season. But now, unfortunately, you have to add 3 more to the list that have been relatively healthy for the whole year in Carlton Davis, David Montgomery, and Aleem McNeil. But I will say this, because I've got, as everything has processed with me, as I've watched the other shows, as I've seen really the full injury report, which I was not really privy to on the Monday show, I have certain opinions that might not be super popular. But I will say this, the fact that Dan Campbell went on the flagship and gave this speech and riled everybody up and qualmed some of the fears is, I think that's a testament and a look inside of why this team was able to play so well despite the injuries, because Dan Campbell is just as good of a leader of men as you're ever going to find, not just in the NFL, on planet Earth. And I truly believe that. I really do. He is the perfect, I would say, CEO style coach, where he is a great leader, where he hires great personnel, where all of the personnel thrive under him, but it all really starts with him. And this interview was Dan Campbell. This was a Dan Campbell masterclass. How many great quotes have we gotten from Dan Campbell over the years? Tons, damn near hundreds at this point. Nothing quite like this.
But you know why they're great now? Because in the moment, a lot of people said, tomfoolery. That's what a lot of people said. Oh, what is this dumb stuff? Oh, what is this meathead? That's what people said. The reason why they're great now, and we can put them on merch that people are winning and that people are buying, it was interesting. Like, Stick and I were looking at it, we were like, yo, people are really going after these Dan Campbell shirts. But in the moment, we heard the national narrative, and we even heard some local narrative that said, what is this guy even talking about? And we even heard some people say, fire him after 4, 5, 6 games, saying he's not the guy. But like you pointed out, this guy is he's not just one of those, like with Caldwell. We knew he was a leader of men, but this is a guy who understands, I believe, the football player and exactly what needs to be hit for these guys to be motivated beyond just their skill set or their talent set. That's why they were able to go last year, no matter what we feel about Kendall Vildor or Jerry Jacobs or even some of the other backups. Last year, they got to the NFC Championship game with those guys. And when you have Dan Campbell going out there and calling his shot and being able to make things happen no matter what, that to me is now when you can look at these quotes even more so. Whereas the slappies are always going to say, yeah. But now all of a sudden, who can say, I'm going to doubt Dan Campbell? Where is he giving anybody a reason to say, you know what, that's tomfoolery now? You can't go back to your initial, because all Dan Campbell has done to this point is made all those people eat crow. All of those people have had to go 180s. All of those people have had to find ways on their shows to be like, well, you know what, in the beginning it was just funny and they put the helmet on and, you know, who does that? Dan Campbell doesn't. He doesn't care what you think. That's what has continued to spur my confidence about this team, even after they lost Aiden Hutchinson, even after they lost Davenport, even after Brian Branch got thrown out the game, and I believe Aleem McNeil might have missed a little bit of time in that game. I know they had another injury in that Packers game. Like, this team has still found ways to get it done, and as we say, things like Cade Cunningham is a straw that stirs the drink for the Pistons, Dan Campbell has absolutely been that for the Detroit Lions.
Yes, and Malcolm Rodriguez and J-Mo missed the Packers games. Those were the injuries that they had there. And you're right, and I want to respond to something from Chuck Brewer, because I don't want what I said to be misconstrued. Sorry, Sam, he's smarter than you are giving credit. He's much more than a cheerleader. I promise that I'm not accusing Dan Campbell of being a cheerleader. I'm talking about his speech in that given moment to really encapsulate what kind of a leader he is and why the people around him, his players, his coaching staff, all thrive under him. I 100% acknowledge that he has grown leaps and bounds now in his 4th year with Detroit as a game manager, with the 4th downs, with just, you know, like the clock management and everything. It has gotten so much better, and the way that he's managed games in certain situations has actually given the Lions wins where otherwise they would have losses if they were more conservative. And also having Jake Bates albeit he hasn't been as perfect lately, he's missed a couple. It's also made it so where they've kicked field goals more strategically as well. So no, Dan Campbell is not a cheerleader. He is a very smart football mind, and what he does on game day and in the weeks between has to be commended and shouted out. It's just this example of going on 97-1 or the flagship when a lot of people were feeling down, and deservedly so. Sunday was a very, very bad day in Lionsville, considering how we felt going in and how we felt coming out of it, not just with the loss, not even really with the loss, but with the injuries, and Dan Campbell calmed a lot of fears, and that's what he does better than anybody in the National Football League.
Yeah. And you know what? What up, though? Detroit's #1 draft pick is in the building. That is KG.
What up?
How you feeling, brother? Because we didn't really get an opportunity to break down those Campbell comments yesterday. And with this team, we've seen them every week. Even when we might have said, okay, a lot just being on paper, this looks like it's going to be a tough game. We've still seen the Lions go out there and find ways to look like the same Lions squad that we thought they'd be with Aiden Hutchinson. Obviously, some things have looked a little bit different, but they continue to overcome this Lions team, which, honestly, when they talk about this team is going to have the identity of the city, they're going to connect with who the city is. Yeah. It's so awesome when you can look at your squad and you can absolutely see that, because how often do we go through ups and downs? How often do we have to go and get it out the mud? That's an everyday thing. Yes, sir. And now we see that it's something that the Detroit Lions are having to go through. And so for me, as a sports fan and as a fan of the Lions, I'm locked in. But as somebody who, understands those types of things as well, I'm just like, you know what? I'm intrigued. I want to see how this story goes, because when has Dan Campbell failed us?
He hasn't. And I'm so glad I got somebody like Dan Campbell as my football head coach, because he has no fear. He goes into everything with the utmost confidence. He's going to go in there and give it his everything. And that's all I can ask for out of a coach, man. And what that soundbite told me is that he's hearing like what people are saying about him. He's hearing what the national media is saying in terms of leaving the Lions for dead because of the injuries. He's heard the fourth down shit. He's heard the old onside kick shit. He's heard it all. So it seems to me that he's kind of getting annoyed, like, hey, y'all, we not dead until we're dead. So y'all can keep all that talk. What I'm going to do is I'm going to rally my team. We're going to go out there and we're going to play 60 minutes of football regardless of who the hell I got on the field. So I commend Dan Campbell for going out here trying to empower the fan base and just pretty much lay it out on the line, man, because I said it yesterday and I'll continue to say it. The Lions do not have a choice at this point. You are in way too deep to just mail it in on the season. I know we labeled this as Super Bowl or bust, and of course there are caveats to the season, but ultimately the mission is the mission, and he has to complete that mission regardless of what this looks like. And I will continue to say this as well. Until Jared Goff goes down, I have the utmost confidence in this team that they can still get to where they need to go.
Preach, man, preach. And you know what? We're going to talk a little bit more about this as we go on as well. I can't wait, man, till we get the legend Rob Beard back on the show to be able to talk about this, because something tells me he's pretty fired up right now after hearing Dan Campbell. But let's get into the next segment, and because I want to hear from the voice of reason, Mr. JB Smooth, as well on this. Definitely. But what friends you want us to say hello to, Mr. JB
I gotta
Smooth?
tell you about New Holland and some merch that we got going on right here as well too. But let me tell you about that Tangerine Space Machine, the new easy drinking IPA that is out of this world. It's smooth, it's juicy with refreshing crushability. Take your taste buds to the moon and grab yourself a can of this intergalactic haze of goodness. The official beer of outer space, so you know it's on tap on the moon right now. Brewed by New Holland Brewing Company, straight out of Holland, Michigan, so you can support locally as well. You know what? After you had a couple of these, you know what? Head over to the Woodward Sports Shop, woodwardsports.com/shop. Get yourself some new designs that we are dropping every single week. You know we got that Dan Campbell speech up there for you. You know we got the Roll Pride, and you know we got the Civilian 16, even though he's not a civilian to us. Head over to woodwardsports.com, click on that shop tab. Playoffs are almost here.
Stop searching for a vehicle and start finding one. Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac makes it easy. We harness the power of multiple dealerships and own the biggest selection of GM brands in the area to get you the car you need. With the Les Stanford Group, you'll have access to 4 different dealerships, providing you with more makes, more models, and more choices. We're connected to more than 1,000 vehicles, and with so many high-quality CPO vehicles available, you'll find new car quality at pre-owned prices. You can start and end your search at lesstanford.com today.
Woodward Sports? Love wearing clothes? Then you should be wearing Woodward Sports clothes. Check out our full line of merch at woodwardsports.com. Just click on shop. We have all your favorite designs, like Dan Campbell kneecaps, Woodward golf, and of course, our own logoed out merchandise. Men, women, infants, kids all love Woodward Sports. Impress your friends. Impress your boss. Impress your dog. Buy Woodward Sports merch today.
Feldman Chevrolet, Michigan's #1 Chevy dealer, is kicking off the game with the best prices on all cars, trucks, and SUVs, like this 2024 Silverado for just $296 a month, or this 2025 Equinox for as low as $371 a month. Our locations in Novi, Highland, New Hudson, Livonia, and Lansing means we have the perfect Chevy right in your backyard. Get the home team advantage every day at Feldman Chevrolet, Michigan's #1 Chevy dealer.
We don't like to brag that we are the toughest sports network in Detroit, but we do have a guy named Darren McCarty on our side. Woodward Sports.
Hey, it's Planet Fitness, where your fitness is essential and fitness that fits your budget. They have 50 plus Metro Detroit locations. You can get a $15 membership and just have your home gym where you can still work out and get the best equipment and get in shape at the best price, whether it's for the holiday season, the New Year's, or Beachbody season, which will be here before you know it. Or you could upgrade to the Black Card, which gives you access to all Planet Fitnesses across the United States. So whether you're traveling, whether you're just on the other side of town and want to go work out, you have that option as well. It's Planet Fitness, where your fitness is essential.
Hey, what up, though, people? Welcome back. It is Wake Up Woodward. And you know what? Let's try and run up those likes again. Yesterday, it was epic. Let's make sure that we are setting that tone today. Dan Campbell got everybody fired up. Let's make sure Wake Up Woodward is setting the pace. And then Woodward Sports, man, stay tapped in with the rest of the shows today. So go ahead and hit that like button. We got KG in the building. So, you know what? Let's just treat it nice, man.
Hey.
Treat it right, man. Hit that like button.
Be gentle with her, man.
Hey, be gentle.
Hey, don't be too hard on her now, man. You know she like it nice and smooth, man. Go ahead and hit that like button. You can tap it a few times. And you know what? If you got a little bit more gas in the tank, tap it a few more times, man. And encourage somebody to tap it as well. We appreciate you.
Hey. He's also tap it as well. Here you go.
Pass her around.
Jeez. Oh, my God.
Hashtag, what's her name? Lily Phillips? Or
Right,
whatever?
Oh, Lord.
That's a good one, Flannel.
Welcome back, Flannel Sam.
Right.
Goodness gracious,
Where
man.
is that girl's father? Jesus Christ. But anywho, we don't need that. We don't need that.
Who needs a father when you have money?
When you have it. I am not going to finish that because this is a serious sports show.
It is.
This is not a
101
referendum on
Dick
society.
Masons. It's okay.
Yeah, all right. Anyway, let's.
But you know what? How appropriate. Let's go to the voice of reason to get this thing back on the round. Voice of reason. JB Smooth, Women's Sports MVP in the TD. He's disappointed in his Flannel. Look
How you gonna go to me after that?
You is the titty man. So
hey, look, talk to us about Dan Campbell, bro. Look, he got everybody fired up, and right now, one of the things that I see going all across social media, right? It's one supersonic. That's what I continue to see. Supersonic everywhere because everybody already understands the moniker that relates to Jahmyr Gibbs. And I do believe that he has everything necessary to go out there and handle the responsibilities of a #1 back. Not the way that they have been doing it here, where they've had the luxury to, you know what, split the carries and keep them fresh as long as they could. And now it is time for Jahmyr Gibbs, who, to this point, we've talked about it before, his speed, it puts him in a position and to not just be elusive, but he doesn't necessarily take on too much contact when he's kind of in that speed and space. He's able to hit the edges and get out of bounds if he has to. Obviously, the time where he is taking a little bit more contact, and this will increase now that David Montgomery isn't here, is when he is running between the tackles. But talk to me, man. Dan Campbell, Jahmyr Gibbs. I'm even really, really bullish right now on J-Mo, trying to make sure that Flannel Sam gets that jersey.
You know what? You spoke about one supersonic, and I think it is going to be supersonic time when it comes to the next couple games that we got going on right now. But as far as it goes with Dan Campbell, that speech alone right there gets you fired up no matter what. that man can say anything and have you running through a brick wall in the next 10 seconds. I'm just saying right now, this man gets you pumped up and fired up. And just to hear him and his confidence in the players that he has right now, despite all the injuries that's going on, it doesn't matter. He still has the overall confidence in this team and these guys out there every single snap. And I definitely think you will see that come this Sunday. No matter what, they still have this in the bag, and he has confidence in whatever that they do. So don't waver your faith or anything like that. Dan Campbell will have these guys ready come Sunday.
Because my thing is this: when you look at the offense, you never want to lose your horses. Like, we had some sure advantages when you have a David Montgomery and a Jahmyr Gibbs, but they never really used them in packages together at the same time. So that's where I'm like, you know what? Right now, it's just a matter of, can Jahmyr Gibbs handle some of the responsibilities that David Montgomery could? And we talked about this with KG yesterday and the rest of the crew. We've seen him do that more and more and more this season, being able to run through the tackles and certain even red zone looks where he's been able to score out from the 6 and the 7 yard line, or being able to score right up on the goal line a couple times, where I'm like, you know what? I think he is ready. If something ever, knock on wood, happened to David Montgomery, now we are staring that reality in the face, and that's where the strategy aspect comes in. I know some people, they've complained at times about the play calling or the designs of Ben Johnson, but when you look at the numbers overall, this offense has been elite.
Number one scoring offense in the league. Yeah,
that's what I'm talking about. Like, and even though you're down one of your horses, before we were already talking about where do you go to feed all of these mouths, and that's where you're going to look for a couple of these players on the offensive side of the ball to really step up, because that's where I believe defensively you can scheme up some things to make sure that this defense is serviceable. We saw them last year do that, but offensively is where this team cannot, where I really want to see them now. They have to, in my opinion, pick up the defense more than ever.
Yeah, because these injuries. And this is where I want to transition a little bit to the two maybe nitpicky things that I didn't like about what Dan Campbell said. And I want everybody's opinion in the room, because I could be dead wrong, and in the chat as well, because I'm open to a discussion, because despite what may happen in these next 25 minutes, KG, I'm still a changed man.
Okay.
Don't you worry.
All right. We going to test it.
We'll see.
I am. I had one relapse, which was Neil Rule, when I wasn't even on a show and was filmed without my consent. Fuck you, Stick. But anywho.
That was my fault.
I'm kidding. Well, I'm not going to say that to you, KG.
It's okay.
Because
I'll take full responsibility.
But okay, so let me just cut the ish on this one. One thing that I didn't like that he said was, you win 11 in a row and everything's great, and you lose one and the sky falls. I don't think people were saying the sky is falling because of the loss. I'll use me as an example. On the Monday following the show, I thought I was relatively calm, and I gave an entire segment just praising Josh Allen and his greatness, and just how he's on a heater like the likes of which we've only seen a few times in the last couple of years, and how that played a big part in it. And also, at the time, I didn't quite understand the scope of the injuries. I think a lot of us still had some hope that maybe Aleem's wasn't as serious, Carlton Davis's wasn't as serious. We had no idea about Monty. But as the day went on, you start to realize you're going to lose Aleem for the season, definitely. You're going to lose Carlton Davis until probably the Super Bowl. And you're going to lose Monty for the season, probably, although he gave us a lot of hope about him. To me, it's about the injuries. It's about the fact that you've withstood a lot, but you've been able to withstand so much because guys like Monty, Carlton Davis, and Aleem are still healthy, or were still healthy. And I'm not saying that the Lions can't do it or that I've lost hope. What I'm saying is that I believe Dan Campbell can squeeze as much out of this team as any human being can. It's just logistically, I'm looking at it more from, if they get a path that isn't too difficult, I still have confidence that they can get to the Super Bowl and potentially win it, which starts to me with getting that 1 seed, which is very much in play. If they win out, they get it for sure. Mm-hmm. But you know what is also in play, and I hate to bring this up because nobody wants to hear it, the 5 seed is in play. Because if the Vikings win the division, that's what the Lions get. And I don't like the idea of the Lions playing a bunch of road games and playing an extra playoff game. So they can certainly do it. And as a healthy team, they would most certainly be the best team in the NFL. But with all of these injuries on top of each other, I don't just have blind, no doubt faith no matter what. I'm looking at it more from the analytical, what's the pathway, what are the matchups. They can still do it, but it's certainly not as simple as you can just place the Lions in the Super Bowl right now, where I feel like it kind of was that way earlier on.
Yeah, and I agree with that. When we talk about how fired up we are about this team being able to overcome, that doesn't mean that it's something that we believe is going to be just as easy, just as, win, we're going to dust them off.
Yeah.
Now, some of that is always going to be a little bit of, I believe, what you have to have with a squad like this, and that's just kind of believing. There's a little bit of hope that goes into all aspects of fandom and cheering for your team, and even if you're coaching, even if you're a player. There's a lot of that. We even see the players sometimes on the sideline for a game-winning field goal not being able to look. Because that's what I'm saying. It's a part of us, and that's what it is. And when you have, though, just a little bit of hope, it gives you an opportunity to leave it all out there on the field. And that's what I'm saying. With a Dan Campbell coach team, you're talking about giving us the opportunity to lay it all out there on the field, then yeah. And when I look at the Bills game, if they got washed like the Ravens game last year, that's when this late in the season with all the injuries, that's where I would probably been a little bit more concerned. But seeing the offense pick up, seeing the fact that it took all of Josh Allen magic to beat this Detroit Lions team by 6, and I know some people want to say it wasn't that close. Listen, if they had an opportunity to recover that last fumble and everybody was sitting there like, then trust me, it was that close. It was that close. And they did some things to hurt themselves, too. The Lions needed to play perfect in that game, especially because I don't consider playing perfect, having the punt, I don't consider that not playing perfect. That's a part of football, especially when you got a guy like Jack Fox to flip the field. But the turnover, that right there, you give yourself a much better chance to win that game because you get opportunity to score, and you get opportunity to take more time off that clock. You get opportunity to change the momentum and the feel of that game because up to that point, after that first quarter, it was blow for blow, blow for blow. So I'm not going to sit here as I look at the rest of the people on the schedule and act as if they're Josh Allen and the Buffalo Bills either, and that the Detroit Lions don't have enough to go and take out some of these the rest of these teams on their schedule. When I looked at even a squad like Minnesota last year being a squad that was really kind of threatening, if they got a couple dubs there against the Lions, their season looks completely different. And even this year, just the way that they're playing. And that's what I'm saying. When I looked at their team, though, even this year, a lot of people looked at their team who said, oh, that's a special squad that's going to be competing for number 1 seed in the NFC. And when I look at the talent level of where the Detroit Lions are right now, that's where I'm just like, well, I'm not worried. I know what they had last year. I understand how Aaron Glenn and Ben Johnson and Dan Campbell were able to scheme up, and they still have this offense that I believe is going to be elite. Who's going to go out there and body bag this offense week after week after week, even now without David Montgomery?
Well, and to further your point, I've always been a proponent of Gibbs is better. I thought Gibbs was better starting with the middle of last season after the Raiders game. And that's no disrespect to Monty whatsoever. But what Monty did give you this year is he did lead the team in rushing in 7 of the 14 games. He still leads the team in rushing touchdowns, which I hope will be broken by Gibbs in these next few games. And Brian Ruth says something in the chat that I knew was coming. And of course, that's followed by a little bit farther down, people mentioning a 3-letter acronym. And I think it's in regards to me. Why would anybody worry about playing on the road when we're undefeated on the road? I think that that's a somewhat good point, but I don't think it's as good of a point as you think. I'm talking about with the number 1 seed. Let's just look at this year versus last year. And I'm saying the number 1 seed because it is very much in play. And if I had to bet my money on it, I still think that they will get it. You win 2 home playoff games. You win 2 home playoff games. You get to rest some players during wild card weekend. And who needs that more than the Detroit Lions? Absolutely nobody. And you win those 2 playoff games and you are in the freaking Super Bowl where anything can happen. And by then, you might have Anzalone back. You might have Carlton Davis back. And you might even have Aiden freaking Hutchinson back. He certainly thinks so. Whereas last year, you didn't get the number 1 seed. You won 2 home playoff games. And what was your reward? Having to go to San Francisco. It matters. I do not want to see if they lose the number 1 seed to the Philadelphia Eagles, I'm not necessarily too worried. Although, and Sean Belegian agrees with me on this, I don't personally want to see the Lions go to Philly. But if the Vikings somehow steal this out from under us, which I don't think that they will, but they're much healthier than the Lions right now, that is where I'm kind of like, damn, on top of that, on top of the injuries, on top of the people that we know that aren't coming back, I think people are a little bit too, what Dan Campbell has done, let me just cut the shit. What Dan Campbell has done, and this is actually something that irritates me personally, is they have, and it's not Dan Campbell's fault, it's y'all's fault. Dan Campbell has awakened the type of Lions fan that I refer to as the Cowboy Rambo Lions fan. And I'm not talking about the Dallas Cowboys. We have a couple of them at this network. And you don't have to really look too far, or it's really not that hard to figure out who they are if you just listen to it coming from me. It's this idea of... you know what? It's going to be next man up. And then you know what? I don't care who we play. We're going to go to Minnesota, and we're going to go to Philly, and we're going to go to Tampa, and we're going to go to Los Angeles, even though you'll have to win 4 playoff games. And if you go to the Super Bowl, we're not only going to play a team, we could play the all-star AFC team. We could have Patrick Mahomes at quarterback, Derrick Henry at running back, Jamar Chase at wide receiver, TJ Watt at edge rusher, Pat Surtain at quarterback, Creed Humphrey at center, etc., and we're going to win no matter what. Yeah! And that's the type of thing where I'm just like, those type of people can't even listen to an ounce of critical analysis.
But let me ask you this. If they made it, and it was the Ravens, and you heard Penix or Aiden Hutchinson, let me say that. Let me stack the deck. Aiden Hutchinson giving that same speech. You gonna sit here and say, Aiden Hutchinson is a clown. I don't believe Aiden Hutchinson.
No, because that's what they have to say. They're in-house.
But if the fans have bought into what this team has shown them, that's where I can't tell anybody who believes like that, you know what? That's a problem. This squad, because I sat here week after week, and I heard some people here say, no, that's impossible. They lost this player, but they can't this, they can't that. I heard last year, I got rubbed that threw the pie right in my face. Why? Because I didn't think they did enough at the deadline. That's where I'm like, something different is going over there with the mojo in the Lions universe, to the point that I could see them getting there, and I could see that being the absolute speech, because they don't care who's across the other line. They didn't care who was playing with the Texans. They didn't care how far they were down. They didn't care. And I get it. The Bills game presents a completely different level of competition from a quarterback position than anything they faced. Because that guy he's just a game changer. I believe that if you have a lesser quarterback in that game than Josh Allen, same Bills team, I believe that you have a completely different outcome. And that's what I'm saying. If the difference was Josh Allen magic, I can't sit here with any fan that's seen this 12-2 squad overcome the loss of probably the best defensive player in the league, and then some. We all know the stats and the records. That's why I'm just like, you know what? If people want to be like, Coach Campbell, go! Bro, get fired up. That's just where I'm at. I see Ed O'Neill, $4.99 Super Chat, NFC title game. Lions offense disappeared for 3 drives, and you blew a 17-point lead. The offense needs to not disappear. History tells me they will. This year, I feel like this Lions team has done a better job at not disappearing. I feel like this has been a year where a couple times they've made up for their own mistakes, or they've picked up where they needed to pick up, and they've been able to go out there and score some points, because this year they're doing even better offensively than they were last year.
Absolutely. And for the record, I want to make this clear. Despite what you might think of me after my little rant there, I'm not making fun, or I'm trying not to make fun, although if you see it that way, I can't necessarily blame you. It's this idea of me even talking about, you know what, the 1 seed might be more advantageous, or you know what, maybe David Montgomery, Carlton Davis, and Aleem might be just like a bridge too far for me to just blindly be like, they're going to the Super Bowl no matter what. That somehow makes me SOL. That's what I 100% reject. I don't think it's I think as Lions fans, we should be really, 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 and you can't really will it as a fan, but really, really focused on get that number 1 seed. That's what, and that's the thing. And I hear people like Stick just say like, it doesn't matter. You know what? Even if we have to play 3 road games, everything's going to be just fine. And I'm just like, this is a team that started off 12-1. This is a team that fully healthy is without a doubt the best team in the NFL. This is a team that, let's just be honest, if they played a game on Wild Card Weekend, I'd almost expect another person to go down at this point because it just keeps happening. We don't have to be cowboy Rambo Lions fans. We can look at this a little bit objectively. That's all I'm saying. I'm not making fun.
When we do, and I get you a little bit on that, but I do, when I look at some of these other squads, and maybe it's because of the pedigree they have as championship winners, sometimes we believe that those guys are going to overcome, and that's where it's like, okay, I know the Lions don't have that Super Bowl yet, but their identity the last couple years has been that they have and they will continue to overcome. Like we talk about last year and this year losing no back-to-back games. We talk about last year and this year being the most dominant team in the NFC North and one of the best teams in the NFC. And then we realized, you know what? You got to go back to the season before that and realize they were on an 8-2 heater then. So that's where, for me, it's just like, you know what? You got to kind of believe until those wheels pop off.
To be honest, I don't have a problem with it because we need the fans now more than ever. This team needs us, man, to just be completely real about it. And if there was any iteration of the Lions that I would be completely Rambo, let's go about, it's the 2024 Detroit Lions. So, Sam, I get what you're saying, and I really don't think it's the majority. I think the majority look at this from a standpoint that these injuries are critical, they are serious. You can't ignore it at this point. I mean, the list is just too big, but at the same time, I still reserve the right to be confident because most of the teams that we could go up against if we were to, worst case, get the 5 seed, we've defeated already. So I do think the path to the 1 seed is there, like, more than ever, because you got the Bears, you got the Vikings at the end. And I think you can beat these teams. Oh, yeah, the 49ers, they're beat up as well. But worst case, if they get the 5 seed, most of the teams you'll probably see you've already defeated. So I'm not necessarily worried if they have to go on the road. Do we want them to be in Philadelphia in January? No, nobody wants that. But I would still expect them to go in there and win because that's where we're at as a franchise now. We have to be real about it. If we're going to call them an elite franchise, we have to treat them as such.
And that was the one thing we were talking about is that the thing that this squad, in my opinion, was going to have to overcome was if they had injuries. I was over here in the offseason. At first, I was very, very pumped up about where this team could go. And then we see the level of talent they have, and we realized they got that talent to be able to get there. Yeah. But we realized that if that was what could slow them down, then that would be what this team would have to be able to protect the Super Bowl window this year, be able to overcome, be able to scheme up, be able to find some emergency personnel here or there. The linebacker, Long Jr., David Long Jr., who recovered the fumble. It's like, you know what? We picked him up off the scrap heap, and he has already made an impactful play. Yeah. And we see him in other plays as well. And that's why I'm like, you know what? When I kind of look between the lines at those types of things is where I say this coaching staff, realistically, don't rob them of anything that they deserve. Don't. To be able to see how quickly people can change. Say, you know what? Yeah, Minnesota Vikings, they're looking pretty good. Let's get me all head. Let's give them the awards. That to me is where it's like that's disingenuous. This Detroit Lions team has dealt with loss after big loss to players who could have realistically lined up and won NFL Defensive Player of the Year. Mm-hmm. What are we doing here? The Lions are 12-2 and they lost a shootout with Josh Allen and the Bills, and now all of a sudden, like we said, the narrative is like, as soon as they lose one, let's try and sweep them. And that's where, honestly, even if people look at the Bears and they scoff at them, that's where I do still believe each and every one of these games, we understand how important it is because they control their own destiny. But you also control the narrative. Obviously, it's more important to control your own destiny because that bye week is where it's at. And getting those 2 home games, I will tell you this, Flannel, I believe that is your best path. Do I still have confidence in them? If not, I will still have confidence in them if they have to go on the road. Because they've shown, and one pride is going to travel that way, but for the health and for everything that we said could slow this team down, you have to play for that first round bye.
Absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely. 100%. And I'll just give this away right now because this isn't really a hot take. If the Lions get the 1 seed, no matter if they're as injured as they are now or if they suffer another injury to anybody not named Goff or Penix,
oh my gosh!
I wish I wouldn't have put that out there, but I had to make a point. I would still pick the Lions to go to the Super Bowl, at least go, and then you might get an advantageous matchup, or you might get Josh Allen again. When playing him twice, it might be a little bit easier anyway. The only thing that I'm saying is that when you add Carlton Davis, when you add David Montgomery, when you add Aleem McNeil to what already was a catastrophic injury like IR list, I went and looked at some of the other teams in the NFL, and it's not even. This is unprecedentedly bad. And if the Lions can do this, Dan Campbell should win Coach of the Decade right now.
Yeah.
Right now.
Yep.
Right now.
And what I want to do is bring people back to last year. You guys remember how we felt after we beat the Vikings and people thought, man, Kirk Cousins and not Kirk Cousins. What's his name? Who was the quarterback last year?
Nick Mullins.
Yeah, Nick Mullins, because he could throw the yards, he could throw the touchdowns, but he threw
And
those
the
interceptions
Right.
as well. But there were some people who were rolling into the game like, yo, we're banged up, we're injured. Do you guys remember how we felt after the Raiders game? No matter how you felt going into it, I remember how people were like, you know what, we're a little bit injured, a little bit banged up. I don't know how we do that. And I remember during the course of the game that some people thought, you know what, at certain points, we're about to take this L. And things just happened because this team got that mojo. And they pulled somebody off the scrap heap who is probably in Flannel Sam's Hall of Fame forever, Uncle Brucey. What up, though, Uncle Bruce Irvin? Yeah. And that one play changed everything from this one scrap heap player who didn't even make it to the playoff roster, I don't believe. No. And that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. I listen, and I remember the feeling during that next day. Like, yo, we weren't supposed to get that. We were getting, the defense was getting sliced up. The same things that we would assume is going to happen. And that's where I'm just like, but they still found a way, and they found themselves in an NFC championship game until the wheels absolutely fell off in those last 20 minutes. But it wasn't like they were playing the Bears. They were playing the 49ers, who at that time were formidably probably the best team in the NFC. Right now, I believe, even as currently constructed, and I get it if you want to take Philadelphia, but I just still believe in these Detroit Lions right now, man.
And I do too. Despite what you might think, despite you maybe calling me SOL at this point, the thing that I just wanted to do today is to not say that I've lost faith, to not say that it can't happen. It's to provide an ounce of critical analysis that a lot of you aren't going to like. And that's it. That's all, because I don't want to lose that. Because, as I said before, there is a clear pathway to the Lions getting to the Super Bowl. Hell, who knows? Maybe even if they somehow get the 2 seed and Philly could lose and they could still have all home games, but you have to play 3 of them because you're the 2 seed. You could still get there. Going on the road for 3 games, I don't necessarily like the prospect of, because despite what people will tell you with certain examples, most of the time, most of the teams that get to the Super Bowl consistently, they do it at home. We talk about the Kansas City Chiefs last year, and I get that that's an example. They played 2 road games, but the Kansas City Chiefs, they went to 3 Super Bowls, winning 2 of them off the backs of playing every single game at home in the playoffs. The New England Patriots, they made 9 Super Bowls in the Brady-Belichick era. Do you know how many road playoff games they had to play getting to those 9 Super Bowls? 3. 3 total. 2001 at
That's
Pittsburgh, 2003 at Pittsburgh, and 2018 at Kansas City. The Peyton Manning-led teams, Peyton Manning got to 4 Super Bowls. Do you know how many road playoff games that either the Colts or the Broncos had to play in those Peyton Manning-led Super Bowl runs? 1. 2006 at the Baltimore Ravens. So there is nothing wrong whatsoever with hoping and wanting a more advantageous run to the Super Bowl. We don't have to be Billy Badass and say, you know what, I want the tough route. They're built for this. No, you don't. You want to win a goddamn Super Bowl. You want to win the Super Bowl. Just win the freaking Super Bowl.
And it's not like it's the easiest path to get the, when you
No
say, I want
path
the
is
easy
easy.
way.
No path is easy, and
No
that's my
path is
point.
easy.
No path is easy.
And no record is just the same, because when we came into the season, there were people who said that the Detroit Lions, who have a first place record, that their record was going to be reflective, because people said, well, the Kansas City Chiefs, you saw their first place schedule, and look what happened to their record. That's not these Detroit Lions. Through all of these injuries, and a first place schedule, Minnesota can suck on that. They don't have that. We have that feather in our cap. Mm-hmm. So I understand that each and every one of our wins, they matter. They matter so much more. They're so much more battle tested. We swept the whole division. Like and I know that Minnesota's having a really, really good season. I believe that they were going to be one of those biggest threats, but I just dislike when people try and take away from like the identity and the character that this Detroit Lions team has shown. They've beaten the Minnesota Vikings while they've been banged up several times now. Like that's like what are we talking about here? They've gone in and they have the character wins on their record already. And that, to me, ultimately is what just encourages me with this team. But you're right. You are right. And that's why I wanted to be able to highlight. Even if they go and they earn that first week bye, they earned that. There was nothing easy about this first place schedule that the Detroit Lions had to play this year. And so that's what I'm saying. When you look at everything that this coaching staff has had to do, how dare anybody else talk about somebody else's name for Coach of the Year? That's just me. No,
of course it's Dan Campbell at this point. And I think, and I'll just speak for myself, but I think I speak for a lot of people as well. It's a weird feeling being in this position as a Lions fan, at least to me, because we've seen what this team is capable of fully healthy. We've seen what this team is capable of even with a bunch of injuries. And it's, like I said, the way that they even handled Aiden Hutchinson was better than I thought that they could have, and I was wrong. I thought that they'd see more of a drop-off, and they didn't, and that is a testament to them as well. But what's also weird about this season is that the injuries keep happening, and and these are the type of injuries that would kill most teams really in NFL history. What we're going to find out is if this Detroit Lions team is one of the most special teams in NFL history. That's what we're going to find out with how they go through these playoffs, with how they finish this regular season. Do I believe that they can? Absolutely. Do I believe that it would behoove them to get a easier path than 3 road games? Absolutely, which leads to another point. As great as the Lions have been, and they've been great, and they've went through adversity that other teams cannot say that they have, because trust me, I've checked the Contenders' injured reserve. It isn't even in the same stratosphere as the Lions' injured reserve. You look around and you see the Vikings have the exact same goddamn record as us. The Eagles have the exact same goddamn record as us. And you're just like, this is the best team in football, right? This is the best team in football, fully healthy, or even with some injuries, and we might not even get the 1 seed. It's a weird feeling that I'm talking through with you guys and kind of having a self-therapy session.
You're being vulnerable.
Yeah.
And I get that. I go through the same stuff, and as I get to the edge, I just say, can't think about it right now. Like, we're sitting here assuming Philly and Minnesota are undefeated the rest of the way good. And for us, that has major implications because the Detroit Lions stand as that last game of the season. And that's why, for me, it's just like, nah, I don't think that those other guys are like that. And if they prove it, they are. And you tip the cap when they do. But we've earned the ability. The Detroit Lions have earned the ability to be able to go out there and walk the way they've walked. It'd be different even if they still snuck into the playoffs. They took a couple losses, 5, 6, 7 losses, 5, 6 losses, because of the injuries, but they still got into the playoffs. That's not what's happening. They've continued to mash. We just had people before the Bills game talk about how we're embarrassing the league. Without Aiden Hutchinson, without Davenport, without, help me, wait, what? What? And so now in 1 week, I'm supposed to act like we're not that same squad? We were just embarrassing the league. People were just crying about us and all this other stuff. This was just weeks ago. And I get it. People say, well, the injuries can catch up. Well, when they do, then I will say, okay, let's change course. But until then, why am I ducking? I'm not walking around like, and nothing is behind me. I can't do that. If Dan Campbell's walking forward, you telling me, you got Dan Campbell saying, let's go. And we're like, nah, heck no. Yeah. I just can't, man. So I believe in what this squad is going to be able to do, man. And I'm glad that you were able to be a little bit vulnerable because I get it, man. But as I approach that dark place, I'm just like, until I'm dumped there, bro. No, let's rock.
And that's and that's fair. It's just Monty, Carlton Davis, and Aleem in one game is if you have some reservations, I can't necessarily
blame you.
When
you knock us down, then we're going to get back up.
Absolutely. But there is oh man, I'm gonna make here I go about to make people mad again because there's one of these in the room right now who I will point out in just a second. There is a group of Lions fans that I refer to as the Monty Bros. What's a Monty Bro? There are numerous times throughout last season and this season where I've gave effusive praise to Jahmyr Gibbs, and I hear, what about Monty? The Monty bro in this room is none other than our very own KG.
You goddamn right. I stand on it. And what's up?
We know how important he is. We know how great he has been. We look back at Let's just look back at it. We look back at the overtime against the Rams and say he won that game. We look at that catch and run against Seattle where he just truck sticked that guy and went like 30 yards. We look at the 7 times he's led the team in rushing. We look at the 12 rushing touchdowns. We look at that and we know how valuable he is. We look at Sonic and Knuckles in duo and say that is the best running back duo maybe we've ever seen. And now that Monty is out, it's just like, psh, psh, psh. Gibbs will do it all. We don't need him anyway. I get it. You have to feel that way. If you're a Lions fan, if you're Dan Campbell and you want to win, I just have to point that out. That's all. That's it. That's all. Can they still win? I think Jahmyr Gibbs is better than Monty. I think Jahmyr Gibbs is arguably the top 5 back in the league right now. Of course they can. I had to point that out. That's all. That's it. That's all.
Part of me does wonder with Ben Johnson, how much more effective does the play calling get with the Jahmyr Gibbs only? Sometimes people, and I think this is what made David Montgomery a more effective pass catcher, is that a lot of times they're lining up saying David Montgomery's in the game. He is surely going to run the ball, and then a play action, it makes the over-aggressive defense bite. With Jahmyr Gibbs, what exactly are you setting up for? The Lions could go unknown the entire time we're passing and have him lined up in the backfield, and then at the last second with 7 seconds left, motion him out, and now the whole defense is scrambling. And in those seconds, I don't care what defense is on the field, you got to now cover Jahmyr, J-Mo, Sam Laporta, Amon-Ra. There's going to be a special breed of teams that can do that consistently, maybe for a game, but I don't believe that it's not going to happen like that consistently. So I do give those types of matchups to the Detroit Lions. Obviously, I'd rather have David Montgomery in the game, personally.
Yeah, exactly. There's a reason why he starts drives and sets the groundwork for what Gibbs can do.
Yeah, absolute battering ram, because then all of a sudden we're looking at Jahmyr Gibbs with ultimate stamina. That's the one thing that we're going to have to understand now. Jahmyr Gibbs and kind of that burst of speed that we see him have in the second halves and in the second quarters. Because David Montgomery was able to go out there and just be the first drive sometimes. Now, all of a sudden, you're going to look at a Jahmyr Gibbs with a little less stamina in these games. So it's going to be important what the backups do, what Craig Reynolds and Vaki, your guy Vaki, gets some time, what they're able to do to make sure that Jahmyr Gibbs can be as fresh as he can for the entire game.
Yep, and I think Gibbs has it in him to do it. And despite what you may think after seeing this segment, I believe the Lions have what it takes to get to the Super Bowl and win it. I just don't think it's as much of a sure thing as it was before. That's all. And I think you have to look in terms of pathways, because no matter how dominant of a team you are in NFL history, if you go to a Super Bowl and you win it, some things are going to just go your way. You're going to have to catch some breaks. I mean, you even look at the 2022 Chiefs with that questionable holding call against the Eagles on a Juju Smith-Schuster that allowed them to run the clock out and kick a field goal. You look at things with the Patriots like the Tuck rule or Dee Ford lining offsides in the 2018 AFC Championship game in which Tom Brady threw what should have been the game-losing interception and Dee Ford had no impact on the play. I'm still bitter about that, by the way, but that's my point. There's no shame in looking for the path of least resistance, because the Lions need a Super Bowl. This city needs a Super Bowl for the Lions like we all need oxygen. And it's right there. It's just disappointing to see the injuries keep happening, and they're going to have to overcome again. And Dan Campbell, he seems to have the utmost confidence in this team, and I believe his ability to galvanize has helped them withstand the injuries they already have, and the city is all fired up, and that's a great thing. And I hope that, because I know people are going to look back at this and say, you see, Flannel Sam, you were wrong if they get to the Super Bowl and win it. I hope that you can have that. I don't think I'd be wrong necessarily, but celebrate how you want to celebrate.
Flannel.
Celebrate how you want to celebrate.
And you know what, Dustin Rice, I see you in the chat. He says, if the Vikings end up winning the division, would you finally put some respect on them? My entire family is a Minnesota fans, and I have to admit I am worried about them with injuries. And look, for me personally, Dustin, I'm going to be consistent on this. You can go back and rewind the tapes and check the receipts. I believe that the Minnesota Vikings were the squad to be most worried about in the NFC North Division over the Packers, just because I realize that they get a quarterback that can play clean football. To me personally, their team just looked better than the Packers last year, and that's just me. Now you got a Sam Darnold in there, change of the guard, the running back position, and you see that they've caught a little bit of lightning in a bottle, and they're able to ride that wave. But there's something a little else different to what you're able to scheme up versus what you're able to pull out the mud. And when the Lions have beaten the Vikings, each and every game has been about, one, who's going to have the ball last and what you're going to do with it. And the Detroit Lions have consistently been a team that's come out on top, no matter what the odds have been. Last year, how many people were worried about the injuries? You got to think about those feelings. You got to think about the fact that the Detroit Lions have continued to be overcomers. So you're going to be worried. I'm not going to tell anybody not to be worried. It's just at this point in time, it's like saddle up, man. It's kind of just kind of, for lack of a better phrase, a transformer roll out. Shout out to Optimus.
It's now looking like Week 18 might be the biggest game in the entire NFL of the season, because the way that it's shaping out, because the Vikings just can't stop winning. That might damn well be for the division, where one gets the 1 seed and one gets the 5. Right. That's just, man, the stakes couldn't be higher. But you know what? It's going to be played at Ford Field, and I like the Lions odds.
Hey, you know what? Let's get into the next segment. Let's say hello to some friends first. Chat family's been on fire, man. Yeah. Continue to smash that like button. Let's try and beat yesterday. Let's rock, man. And we're going to try and definitely bring the heat as much as we can. I'm seeing people, man, they are ecstatic about Jahmyr Gibbs.
Absolutely. As you should be, and we blew through lots of breaks. So I'm going to tell you about Woodward and Maine and the pregame show. Hey, Detroit, on game day, wake up with Woodward and Maine, your source for all the insider information on the defending NFC North champions, your Detroit Lions, with insight from Detroit sports media legend Terry Foster and rising star Matt Broder. Get ready, Detroit, every Sunday, 8 to 9 a.m. Woodward and Maine, brought to you by Tangerine Space Machine, Taller Your Local Long Drink, Sabbath Coffee, and Tullamore Dew Irish Whiskey. And then, of course, you have to go to the New Holland Brewing Company pregame show, hosted by these two extraordinary gentlemen right there. Believe it or not, that was me when MSU beat Oakland last night.
Huh?
Hey. I really don't like Oakland. And Greg Campy's overrated. It's the New Holland Brewing Company pregame show. Every game day, Neil Rule and Sean Belegian bring you the best Lions pregame show. Sunday, 10 a.m. to noon on Woodward Sports, live at Second Best Bar in Detroit. The latest injury reports, fantasy sit-and starts, and the inside scoop on your Detroit Lions. Join us for every Sunday home games live at Second Best Bar in Detroit, your official guide to Lions game day on Detroit's #1 sports network, Woodward Sports. Brought to you by Tangerine Space Machine, Taller Your Local Long Drink, Sabbath Coffee, Tullamore Dew Irish Whiskey, and Les Stanford Chevrolet.
But first, you guys got to walk in any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men to get fresh, man, because you guys already understand, for these Lions shows, we like to get y'all involved, especially for Hey Social. You guys will hear more about that. So come here, open 7 days a week. Sit back, relax, and enjoy that $20 haircut special. So they're getting you right on the low. Scalp massage, hot leather neck shave, hot towel treatment from one of our talented stylists. All you got to do, scan that QR code wherever it is on the screen. Find before I do, you'll get that $20 coupon special today. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, open 7 days a week. Walk-ins are always welcome. It's wicked awesome.
Stop searching for a vehicle and start finding one. Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac makes it easy. We harness the power of multiple dealerships and own the biggest selection of GM brands in the area to get you the car you need. With the Les Stanford Group, you'll have access to 4 different dealerships, providing you with more makes, more models, and more choices. We're connected to more than 1,000 vehicles, and with so many high-quality CPO vehicles available, you'll find new car quality at pre-owned prices. You can start and end your search at lesstanford.com today.
The bad boys from the NFL are here. Your 2024 Detroit Lions are the hardest hitting, highest flying, trickiest playing, grittiest team in the NFL.
A dominant team.
Get all your coverage of your favorite team right here in your favorite network, Woodward Sports.
Get energized for the holidays during the 12 Days of Fitness at Planet Fitness. Now through December 20th, join for $1 down, $15 a month. And recharge this holiday season and beyond in the clean and spacious judgment-free zone, filled with equipment for every workout. Stay motivated with free fitness training and lots more. Celebrate the 12 Days of Fitness at Planet Fitness. Join for $1 down, $15 a month. Hurry! Offer ends December 20th.
A network for the city, by the city. Woodward Sports is Detroit Sports.
Dealing with divorce, child custody, visitation, or other family law issues, Kevin and Catherine at KDK Law in Birmingham will have your back. With 10 plus years of experience and 24/7 availability. Scan the QR code on the screen or call 248-971-0476. Say Woodward Sports sent you and KDK will pay your filing fee. KDK Law, they've got your back.
They've got your back, and I know you've got the Salvation Army's back. Your donations make it possible to serve our communities most vulnerable. 24 hours a day, 365, the Salvation Army of Metro Detroit's 2024 Red Kettle Christmas campaign is going on right now. And even though the goal was high, anything that you give can always help. Your contributions will help love beyond just Christmas this year to individuals in need of food, shelter, and just compassion. Scan that QR code on screen, or you can go to donate.sagreatlakes.org to donate today.
Hey, and what up, though, people? We are back. It is Wake Up Woodward, and just, you know what, Salvation Army doing the most good. If you guys get opportunity, scan that QR code, or if you see that little red kettle, just to reiterate, make sure that you guys are supporting. I have to make sure, though, that, again, I shout out our Wake Up Woodward and Woodward Sports family members. It was awesome to be out there when we did the Celebrity Bell ringing weekend. Kavasi Chase was in the building. Pete Spivak, Pete Cook was there. The Lovable Time as well, and myself. And it was awesome to see you guys showing up. And we didn't have to sell you guys on, hey, if you give 20, then that turns into 100. Your donation turns into 100. They'll match it up to adding in an extra $80 for you. We didn't have to sell people on that. Kavasi and Chase, people were walking up and just had the 20 in their hands. So, you know what? Shout out to you guys. That's why I love this chat family and everybody that supports Woodward Sports, man. It's just some good people out there that care about doing the most good. So, you know what? The Detroit Pistons. We got to get into this. Shout out to the legend Rob Beard. I can't wait to have you back, brother. He did. It was a late scratch this morning. There's a lot going on in the sports world. He is a sports editor-in-chief for the Detroit News. But we will talk about them right now. They are in still playoff positioning, which is awesome to say about these Detroit Pistons. Yesterday we teed it up, and I'm going to say it again, through 41% of their games. Through 41%, through a third, about 33. It's like 32.6% of their games. They're winning just under 41% of their games. And we know that there's some that they dropped. They started this season 0-4, and they still find themselves in postseason positioning right now. So this is a situation where the Detroit Pistons are proving that they're a squad that can compete every single night. They still have a lot to clean up, but this is a team, and I'm going to reiterate this again, that needs at this point in time, and I think they've earned a little bit more of the support of the Detroit Pistons faithful and some Detroit sports fans who, you know what, maybe basketball don't rock for you, but I can tell you this, if you don't remember the days of Palace of Auburn Hills, especially before even the 2004 team got really going, the way that the fans were able to show out and support, I do believe had something to do with helping this squad get to the next level. We hear the Lions talk about just how much they've made Ford Field a weapon even before they got on this run with Dan Campbell. And I do believe that right now you got a team that is battling above the talent level that they have right now. And they even found a way to get a gutsy kind of character type win against the Miami Heat. They were down Jaden Ivey, and they lost Isaiah Stewart in that game. We don't know how long he's going to be out yet. It looked like his knee hyperextended. And then Jalen Duren was playing the entire game with foul trouble. He got his, I believe, his fifth foul in early in the third quarter, if I'm not mistaken. But he still, when he got into the game, I saw some things that I liked there. And we're going to have to see more of that. The aggressiveness. It was like he was mad that he didn't get to play, and he was going out there and dunking everything. He was going out there and playing in a brand of aggressive basketball. And I'm like, you know what? If it's going to put the 5 fouls on you, so be it. Now, the refs has been a little bit ticky-tack, but overall, I like what we're seeing out of this team, and obviously Cade Cunningham at the top of this is what's making it go. But Flannel Sam, hey, just your thoughts overall on the Detroit Pistons right now, still in postseason positioning, and I believe that the schedule sets up favorably in front of them.
Got to win at home against Utah Thursday. That is for sure. But that game against the Heat, it gave me a heart attack and a half. But the fact that they were able to still win despite blowing a 16-point fourth quarter lead and the Heat getting out to an 8-point lead in overtime, the fact that the Pistons were able to still get that win despite all of the potentially demoralizing things that had happened to them, that's a character win, as you said. And I also think that game was a bit of a microcosm on why getting shooters around Cade Cunningham is so freaking important. 18 assists, are you kidding me? I mean, you saw what Malik Beasley was doing early on in the game to help get the Pistons that big lead, but you also saw in overtime, Tim Hardaway Jr. had probably the shining moment of his NBA career. I know he's played playoff games and whatnot, but 9 points, 3 consecutive threes to erase an 8-point deficit and put them ahead by 1, and all of them were assisted by one Mr. Cade Cunningham, who was drawing double teams and getting Tim Hardaway Jr. a wide open shot. That one where he found Tim Hardaway Jr. in transition after that air ball was a perfect pass in which Tim Hardaway Jr. knew he was on a heater and he just threw it up for what turned out to be the, not the game winner, but the go ahead. And then the game winner was actually Cade Cunningham on a layup for someone pretty clutch for someone who's not clutch. But anywho, this is a different team, and I think this roster is built in a way around Cade Cunningham to at least get them to the play-in. And that was a huge win, because if they lose that game, I know it's just one game, but we're talking about them blowing a lead and it being a devastating loss. But they didn't, because they rallied in overtime.
They did. And you know what? Shout out to just some player spotlights, just guys to mention. Obviously, Cade Cunningham with another triple-double. Malik Beasley, who's an absolute flamethrower, and he might make an appearance in our Swish or Break, our Swish or Break segment today. And I'm going to get the opportunity to talk to him as well. The Detroit Pistons, they're doing their season of giving, where every week you're going to see them out in the community, out and about, and some families were selected to come and shop with Pistons to make sure that they have what they need for this holiday season as well. So that's going to be an awesome thing to be a part of. And I know that Fontecchio is going to be down there, Malik Beasley, Sasser, and others. So I look forward to that. And we're going to also meet up with Tim Hardaway, who is going to be visiting hospitals today. And it's just awesome to see that these guys not just having this impact in the community, which we know that they're always going to do, but also seeing these guys having this impact on, on the court this year. That to me is where it's just like, you know what, continue this momentum. And they have some guys that understand this. That's the importance of having a Tobias Harris, who didn't play. I'm sorry, I didn't even mention that.
Yeah.
Tobias Harris didn't play. What a gutsy win by your Detroit Pistons. And so, but you got some vets like him, Malik Beasley, and Tim Hardaway, who have this kind of never say die mentality and attitude. And there's some games that we've seen the Pistons lose last year that would have been losses this year if not for some of these vets that have stepped up at different points during the season. And I also want to shout out, obviously, Tim Hardaway, and I'm glad that you spoke on what you spoke on about him, because he's one of those guys. And seeing him behind the scenes, it's different when you're in the press conference room, and whether he's played well or not, whether he even played that night or not, to see Tim Hardaway standing outside the press conference room and gassing up the guys up there on the podium has been awesome. To see him in the hallway and hearing him like, "Hey, man, you won, bro. You won the one." Like, to see him really gassing up his teammates and pushing them, and then going out there and being the guy who's going to lead the team in charges drawn. When he said this at Media Day, some people chuckled at it, and some people go, "Oh, whatever." Now I see him going out there and he's putting his body on the line and he's doing what he can to make this thing work. But another player that I want to be able to spotlight here, two players. We'll put these two players together. Asar Thompson, who we talked about yesterday, and the content did well when we discussed him. Shout out to Asar Thompson, man. And I know there's going to be a little bit more development and getting back into game shape. But Ron Holland, the rookie, and I get it. There's other rookies out there that are doing some fine things like Dalton Connect and Stephen Castle and others. And we understand during our draft coverage some of the players that we wanted them to take a look at. But what Ron Holland has done the last couple games, and as he's learning to kind of play a little bit more within himself, that to me has been awesome. Ron Holland he's taking some steps right now early in the season, which is the tip of the cap to the Pistons development staff. And earlier in the season, he used to get in trouble more consistently with when he would drive and get downhill, he would try and finish at the rack or throw up a weird floater, and it just wasn't working. Now I see him doing a little bit more of what Cade does well, and that's when the gravity is there, dish it out to your shooters. Yeah. Look at the last game. Even though he didn't score the way he did against the Boston Celtics, look at his play. And he was able to find those shooters on the outside. And when we talked about what he could bring to the table, it was kind of this all-around ability that if he can get the three-point shot down, it would unlock everything for him spacing-wise.
And that's certainly an if. It's an if with him and Asar Thompson. But you're right about Ron Holland. He's doing what he needs to do and playing the role for this team. And we know as the years go by, it's going to expand. At least we certainly hope. But Asar Thompson, man, getting the start, a game in which Tobias Harris didn't play, I look at that as maybe the best game he's ever played in a Pistons uniform, given the importance, given the fact that last year was such a bad season and this year they actually have play-in hopes. I mean, 19 points, 8 of 14 from the floor, 1 of 3 from 3. Hey, that's 33%. That's not bad. 9 rebounds, 4 steals. I mean, Asar Thompson did everything. And how great has it been to have him back in the lineup? And I don't know about you guys, but Asar Thompson looks huge.
I told you guys.
He's massive.
Remember we played the video of him and Ron Holland, and people thought, oh, yeah, those are wings. I said, guys, Ron Holland is more the guard type.
Yeah.
Also, shout out Bobby Clinton. He's getting that work in the G League.
Yeah.
Bobby Clinton. I can't wait till Bobby Clinton is back. I got content with his family that we'll play at a later time. But yeah, Asar Thompson is a different freak of nature, and that's why I have always stated he doesn't necessarily need the three-point shot. We still saw how effective he was from the perimeter. Whether it was diving and cutting, what Simone Fontecchio does very well of cutting when the primary ball handler drives to the rim.
He's gotten better at that.
Asar Thompson's doing that very well. It was what we saw him do at the start of last season. And for some reason, the game plan just changed. And it was like, why are we not taking advantage of his athleticism and his ability to read and react? Why? Because Asar Thompson was a facilitator all the way up. He was a primary facilitator all the way up until he got to the Pistons. So what do facilitators know? They also understand where to be on the court, how to read and react.
Yep.
JB Bickerstaff is taking advantage of that. And Asar Thompson has done the work. It's not just that he's naturally taller and have a little bit more weight, but man, bro, he hit the weight room even more. All he is a gym rat. How did you gym more than you've already been gymming? But you see it, and that's what I loved about his game. He's able to find ways to be effective, and I love the floater. I love his ability to say, I'm dunking this. How many times do you see him go in and dunk it? There was a couple plays we went in for a layup. I'm like, bro, stop. And the next play, crash. That's what you need from this. Those are the things that make up the difference because they're not going to be the most talented team. But you're going to have some areas that you can exploit, some areas you can take advantage of. So
yes. Asar Thompson, another example last year of Monty tried to stunt my development. Shout out Jaden Ivey.
That's the one that flew under the radar. Jaden Ivey was the one that we all knew. But when you look at guys like Jalen Duren and Asar Thompson and even Marcus Sasser, like this summer, you're learning how to play as a point guard?
Yeah.
What? KG, let's get this started. Let's
go ahead.
Get this switch
break started.
All right, go ahead. Talk,
now,
KG.
I just don't get it, bro.
Hey, man, it is what it is. We're in better hands now. I think we can all say that. But this is Swish or Brick or Swish or Break, whatever your preference is. And the first couple statements here are involving the Pistons starting lineup. So
Nick Swisher. Sorry, go ahead. Go ahead.
Nick Swisher.
He's going to tee it up. I'm going to set the stage, and then we're going to get the panel involved as well. Let's rock.
All right. First statement in Swish or Brick. Malik Beasley. This one's been on here a couple times. Malik Beasley needs to be a permanent starter. Swish or Brick?
Swish. If you're not going to give me Fontecchio, I just need a flamethrower, a heater, somebody who you know. When K throws him the ball, the entire defense is like... That's what you get every single time. Every single time I see K throw the ball to Malik Beasley, I'm like, that's cash. And how much more does it help that for whatever reason, Cade is so good that you have to help off of Malik Beasley, who's made the most threes in the league the last 16 games.
That's not surprising. Every night it seems like he's going 5 of 10, or like the game against the Heat, he was a 7 of 13, I believe, from 3, which is over 50%.
So what say you?
I don't care. and I know that sounds like a cop-out answer. I mean, I do care, obviously, but I think
his ball and went home.
No. I think Malik Beasley, if you have some injuries, if you have people resting like a Tobias Harris or a Jaden Ivey, sure, you can throw him in the starting lineup and he's going to thrive. But I also love what he provides for this team off the bench, with him being your best bench scorer by a country mile, with other guys like Fontecchio giving you damn near butt kiss. So I just want him to have as many minutes as he can, whether it's from the starting lineup or being a candidate for 6th man of the year, which he's not going to win. But I keep pointing it out. He keeps playing so well.
But it's basketball, bro. You can't be a wedgie. It's got to be in or out.
All right, I'm going to go Brick.
Ooh, let's rock.
If I have to make it, I'll say Brick.
Let's rock. JB Smooth.
Give me Swish on this. As you said, give him all the minutes that you can out there. K just needs a little bit more help, and if you got a fiery hot hand in Malik Beasley, then keep rolling with it. Are you starting
Jaden Ivey and Malik Beasley and going with a little bit smaller kind of backcourt?
I still want Ivy off the bench, but gotta make sure sticks.
Right.
That's what I said. That I still want Ivy off the bench, but that's just me. So Swish.
Kavasi Chase?
I'll say Swish. I want Tobias coming off the bench. I've been saying it for a while. I just don't think he's He's a number 2 option. He's a 6th man on a competitive team, and we're trying to peg him to be more than he is.
So you'll go with the Jaden Ivey, Cade, and Malik Beasley?
Yeah, I mean, any combination, yeah. Whatever you want to mix up. I don't think Tobias should be in the lineup.
KG?
I want to say Swish so bad, bro, but this is a brick for me. I like, to Sam's point, what Malik Beasley gives you off the bench. He is literally your only option on the bench. If we send Tim Hardaway to the bench, then there will be a lot more nights of inconsistency in terms of, scoring coming from there. And you lose a little bit defensively. Not saying Tim Hardaway is a miles, better defender than Malik Beasley is, but you do lose a little bit defensively by, putting him out there. So I think you're better off just leaving him on the bench. He's been great. He's already damn near getting starter minutes. So, I mean, at this point, it's kind of irrelevant. Just keep having him play the role that he's playing right now.
If I had to shade one way, it would be that way. I like the consistency that you're going to get off the bench, and that goes a long way. They still have issues with their bench unit, and to know that you have a Malik Beasley there. Yeah. I know I usually don't answer these with set the stage, but that's one in which it's like, I get that.
I think you get more streaky nights from Hardaway on the bench than you would from a Malik Beasley.
Yeah.
Well, and I think, KG, you put it more tactfully than I did. It's irrelevant. When I said I don't care, people may think that I don't care about Pistons basketball. It's far from the truth. My point is that if they want to start him, start him. If they don't, what he's done off the bench has gotten the Pistons wins this year, literally. So, to me, it's irrelevant as long as he plays starter minutes.
Hey, let's get that next question in.
All right, this next one I might be swishing on. I'm just going to be real about it. Asar Thompson should be considered for a starting role at forward, swish or brick.
Asar Thompson is, in my opinion, a starter on this team. Just point blank, period. You look at the impact, you see why he was drafted, and you realize he actually makes that difference. To be able to bring down the usage rate of Cade Cunningham on both ends of the court, offensively and defensively. If you actually look at the defensive numbers, Cade Cunningham is forcing everybody he defends into subpar or less than their averages field goal percentage-wise. He's doing a really good job, regardless of what you may hear from some people who think he needs to take another step up. But what that does is it makes him a little less efficient, and it affects the stamina. You want Cade Cunningham to have, honestly, as much to give as possible, and that's where Asar Thompson helps. To be able to guard the ones, defend the ones, to be able to defend in pick and roll sets, and I love the two-man game between the two of them. Asar Thompson being able to set picks for Cade Cunningham, roll into the rack, and then, bloop, here's a lob for you too. Yeah. So let's rock. Let's start over here with Mr. Flannel Sam.
I'm going to go swish, and it's with the caveat that Cade Cunningham is now a 39% three-point shooter. Tobias Harris, as the season has gone on, has gotten, at least since his bad start, gotten to the point where he's shooting about his career average from three. Jaden Ivey's three-point shot has improved. And even Asar Thompson, he's at 31%, albeit in a small sample size. So I guess my point in all of this is if Asar Thompson can shoot a little bit and everybody takes their leap in the three-point shooting department that we hope that they would at the beginning of the season, I would be okay with it. And you could have Tim Hardaway Jr. and Malik Beasley giving you instant offense off the bench. I don't hate that at all. Give it a swish.
Hey, let's go, JB Smooth.
This is a switch for me. I'm sorry. Tobias Harris, we can't count on you, man. So I need the next
to the bench.
I know. Wow. Tobias to the bench. It's shocking to see. But Tobias to the bench, hey, we can't count on you, man. I need someone else out there that, even though it's not a high percentage that he's shooting at, still, if the ball is going in the basket, I need this guy out there. And that's Asar, so swish.
Let's rock. Come on, Chase.
I feel like I gave the 2-for-1 on the last day.
Yeah, I already know.
Goodbye, Tobias. You're not in the starting lineup. I've been saying it for the third game of the season. He shouldn't be in the starting lineup.
Did we just play the same track again?
Yeah.
Hey, shout out to KG. What up, brother?
No doubt, swish, man. And listen, you are going to lose a little bit of spacing by doing a move like this, but Asar Thompson is a defensive weapon. Like, literally, he guards 1 through 5. He can go out there. He's going to give you effort each and every night. It appears like he's gotten stronger this year, so that bodes well as well. And I think his offense goes underrated in terms of him playing downhill. When he plays downhill, he's very good at driving and kicking, and he's also very good at finishing at the rim, man. And to me, if you can do those two things consistently, then your lack of a three-point shot won't hurt you that much, especially when Sam brought up everybody else seems to have taken a leap from the three-point position. Jaden Ivey has, Cade has. So I think if you send Tobias to the bench, you give your bench a little more juice in terms of scoring. And him and Malik can be the first two off the bench. But Asar is just, you can interchange him in so many different defensive situations, man. And I really love what he brings to the table. So the only thing you got to worry about is his, coming off the blood clot injury. Can he sustain 30 plus minutes a night? That's your only real concern, I feel, with that.
He has been fully cleared by the Pistons organization and their medical staff for a long time.
Right.
It was the NBA who went and they took even more precaution to make sure that he was right. So after your organization clears you, then the NBA is going to have their play panel that effectively comes in and does their own investigation, all of their own medical research, and to make sure that that player is good to go. And you know what? I appreciate them taking that time,
absolutely,
to care for somebody's life and prioritizing that. So, he wasn't the only player that went through that process this year.
Yeah. So, I totally agree.
Hey, let's get to that last one, and I know we have what's trending on the way, as well as Feldman Mailbag.
All right, I'll do this one as the last one. The Pistons making the play-in is tied to Jalen Duren improving his defense and interior scoring. Swish or brick?
What?
I'll say it one more time. The Pistons making the play-in is tied to Jalen Duren improving his defense and interior scoring.
With that one, they're already in postseason positioning.
True, but they can fall out.
They can, but I don't think it's due to Jalen Duren. He can have an impact, in my opinion, to help them bolster, but I do believe that they have enough right now to make it happen. He's averaging right now like less than 10 rebounds and less than 10 points per game. And we see the squad, the recipe to win is going to be what happens with that trifecta of scorers at the top. Their paint defense is something that I believe is going to be sporadic all season.
Yeah.
All season. And that's where I do believe, personally, it would be at this juncture, it could be considered a failure if they don't make that play in.
Yeah.
But you got to ask the guys, swish or brick. Is it tied to Jalen Duren's improvement?
I'm going to go brick because of very specific wording, the play-in. I think it is 100% tied in terms of the play-in, the health of Cade Cunningham. He plays 70 games, they make it. He plays less than 70 games, they don't. So I'm going to go brick.
JB Smooth.
I got to agree with Flannel on this one. This was a brick. This ties in the Ivy NK. Like, if we want to make it there, we're riding the backs of these guys right now. Some pause on that as well, too. But still, Duren, you're not it. It's Cade and Ivy. I'm sorry.
Kavasi, Chase.
It's a brick. Duren's at best the fourth most important player on this team. So his future long term is looking in question.
Hey, I'll go brick. My bad, I didn't see your message, but I'll go brick on this one. Because ultimately, I mean, what he's provided has been fine. You would like to see him improve a little bit more, because if this team takes a slide, I feel like it'll be because they're not playing as good a defense as they can play, and he's a part of that. So that's the only pushback that I'll give, but ultimately, no. And if you want to run through this last question real quick, do we got time?
Which one?
It would be a failure if the Pistons don't make the play-in. Swish or brick?
You know what? Yeah, we'll get quick answers from everybody, and then after that, you know what? I'll set it up now. Right now, the Detroit Pistons, they are in postseason positioning. The teams ahead of them: the Bulls, the Pacers, the Hawks. I believe in Miami Heat, which you got to think about this. Several of these teams are talking about breaking their teams down. That are the Bulls and potentially the Heat, who I do believe that the Detroit Pistons are better than. After they get a little bit more settled in, I believe that they are. After an 0-4 start, the Pistons have been fairly good. The teams behind them: Brooklyn, they're going to dismantle their team. Philly, they have not been able to overcome the injuries. You got the Hornets, and Toronto and Washington, who are all tanking. So at this point in time, you're talking about, 6 solid teams that the Detroit Pistons should be better than, and if so, then it's a play-in position. So we'll start with you, Flannel Sam.
I'm going to go swish, and it's because obviously when we've seen the Pistons play and you've seen them be in play-in position at this point in the year, your expectations change a little bit. But I don't even think it's that. I think it's what's around them. As Kool-Aid said, I think they're better than the Chicago Bulls. I think the Bulls eventually this season blow it up a bit, and the Pistons pass them.
We might get Vooch.
Hey, bring them home. But if if the Brooklyn Nets were to somehow pass the Detroit Pistons, to me, that's unacceptable. It just can't happen. So in terms of how they've played so far and what's around them, and I believe that 35 wins might get you into the play-in. Yes, it's play-in or failure.
JB Smooth.
This is a toss-up because I don't want my fandom to get in the way and just being like, oh no, if they don't make it, they're still all right. They're showing improvement, but then the sports side of me is just like, well, yeah, if we don't get in, then the season was kind of a failure because we had high hopes to start the season with the new staff and everyone seeming to gel a little bit more together, but still, I don't know.
Maybe it's not a failure. Maybe it's more or less a disappointment. If they don't
disappointment.
Make it.
I like that word better. Disappointment. So
you would then say brick.
Yeah, it's a brick.
Cavassier Chase.
I'm gonna say it's a brick. It suck, but at the same time, we need to add talent to this roster, and the better chance to add talent is being in the lottery. So if that's what we need to do for another year, then
shit, is it?
Greg Allspaw said the ball is stuck on the rim. It's not even a wedgie. It's just stuck on top of that one.
Yeah.
What up, though, KG?
Yeah, I think this is a brick too because I don't think it's a failure. That's too strong of wording because that was never the goal for this season. I think it's an added bonus if they make the play-in, but ultimately this season was just about improvement and just getting back to a place where we're just regular bad. And I hate to say that, but
regular bad.
As long as they get to 30-plus wins, I'm satisfied as a fan. This is marginal improvement from the year before. Hell, even when you look now, they have 11 wins on the year. They had 14 last year, and we're not even in the new year yet. So I think they've already shown this product is different, and I think that was the main goal of what they wanted to accomplish this year. Now next year and going forward, I would expect play-in, but just me as a fan, I'm not going to raise the expectations on them just yet because that was never really the goal. We just wanted to see whether they could actually improve with the talent that they have currently.
But as the beat reporter, my job is to make sure that their voice has a spot on the platform as well. They raised their own expectations.
And I'm happy with
the playoffs this season.
Yeah, and
as
they
going out
should.
there balling.
They in that locker room night to night, they should be the ones raising that expectation. But me as a fan, I just want to see somewhat decent Pistons basketball. Yeah. And next year we can worry about that because this roster is far from complete. If you ask me, we still have a lot more to go in terms of winning consistently night to night and being that team. But it would be an added bonus to me if they make the play-in, but it's not the expectation. So
at this juncture,
I hear you though.
It's something, but you know what? We get to talk about them because they are right now. If the season ended today, stop the count. We would be gearing up for postseason basketball for these Detroit Pistons. So you know what? Shout out to them. It's going to be interesting to see what this team can do because some of these questions, if Jalen Duren does take a leap, then you got to ask yourself, can the Pistons sneak into that top 6 of the East?
Yeah.
Some people say that that's overzealous, but you already look at the fact that if this team had won a couple of games that they should have won, I'm talking about just hit a free throw. Just 2-3 games changes this thing completely for the Detroit Pistons. So it'll be interesting to see as they go on. But I know we got everybody's favorite segment on the way after we say what up, though, to some of our friends.
Yeah, we got a
Great
couple
job,
people
KG and
to
crew.
say what
I
up
got
to.
you.
Jar Sabbath and Mark White. I'll start off with Jars first myself.
Hey, let's rock.
Because, you want to get high? Of course you do. Sports
right
fans,
now?
Whether you're hitting the game or just chilling, Jars Cannabis has you covered. Jars is home to Michigan's largest line of recreational cannabis products. They've got over 27 locations across the state, repping Michigan in a big way. 9 locations right now in Metro Detroit, so there's always one nearby you. And don't fear, because if you live in Grand Rapids, Madison Heights, or Milan, Michigan, get ready because new stores are coming your way soon. It is Jars Cannabis. Now some Sabbath coffee.
Fuel your Lions fandom with the perfect cup and become a subscriber of Sabbath Coffee Roasters. Whether you're gearing up for a big game or savoring a quiet morning while you got Wake Up Woodward on, hey, listen, Sabbath Coffee Roasters has you covered with fresh, locally roasted specialty coffee delivered right to your door. So they're treating you right. All you got to do, this is your part. Head to www.sabbathcoffeeroasters.com. Make sure you're using code Woodward because you know we got you with the hookup, and that gets you 25% off your first subscription order. Awaken and wine. Support local and enjoy game day right with Sabbath Coffee Roasters.
Yes, and Mark White, dreaming of a new home but feeling the financial pinch? Mark White and Associates, your trusted real estate experts, are here to help. Mark White and his team will pay up to $5,000 of your closing costs. That's right, I said $5,000. Call Mark White and Associates today at 248-290-8242 or visit them at markwhitesales.com. Again, call Mark White today at 248-290-8242 to make your dreams come true.
Stop searching for a vehicle and start finding one. Les Stanford Chevrolet Cadillac makes it easy. We harness the power of multiple dealerships and own the biggest selection of GM brands in the area to get you the car you need. With the Les Stanford Group, you'll have access to 4 different dealerships, providing you with more makes, more models, and more choices. We're connected to more than 1,000 vehicles, and with so many high-quality CPO vehicles available, you'll find new car quality at pre-owned prices. You can start and end your search at lesstanford.com today.
The most talked about Detroit media by other Detroit media, and we love it. It's the Woodward Sports Network.
Get energized for the holidays during the 12 Days of Fitness at Planet Fitness. Now through December 20th, join for $1 down, $15 a month. And recharge this holiday season and beyond in the clean and spacious judgment-free zone, filled with equipment for every workout. Stay motivated with free fitness training and lots more. Celebrate the 12 Days of Fitness at Planet Fitness. Join for $1 down, $15 a month. Hurry, offer ends December 20th.
The Super Bowl parade in Detroit will be one for the record books. Detroit just does it different. Woodward Sports, your official Super Bowl or Bust Lions network.
Walk into any Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men today. Open 7 days a week. Sit back, relax, and enjoy precision haircut, scalp massage, hot leather neck shave, and hot towel treatment from one of our talented stylists. Step up your game this season and take advantage of our $20 haircut special. Scan the QR code and get your coupon today. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men, the ultimate haircut experience. Open 7 days a week. Walk-ins always welcome. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. It's wicked awesome.
Caesar Sportsbook, the official sportsbook, of us here at Woodward Sports. All you got to do is scan that QR code on the screen. Use code word Woodward1000. You can deposit up to $1,000, and all you have to do is make a minimum of a $20 bet. And you know what? If it doesn't hit, they'll throw it right back into your account with no questions asked. It's the Caesar Sportsbook, the official sportsbook of us here at Woodward Sports. There's a couple games tonight. Why don't you make some money?
Make some money.
Are there a couple games? Oh yeah, Michigan basketball, but like no NBA. But
no
NBA. Red Wings, yes, the Detroit Red Wings. They need themselves a win. But Soroki's Crispy Chicken and Pizza has a limited time offer. Continuing throughout the football season, Soroki's is debuting their fresh signature flavored wings this football season. Grab your friends, order a New York style pizza, and add fresh wings for the games this weekend. Try one of their seven different flavors, and go to their website at sorokis.com.
Hey, what up, though, people? We are back, man. It's something about dancing Flannel over there. I love when Flannel's in a good mood. And you know, I'm gonna tip a question real quick that I want to before we get into what's trending. We won't answer it now, so save it for Feldman Mailbag. Jalen Duren gets to RFA based on the market. Somebody gives him a contract with an annual value between 20 and 25 million a year.
Is you matching?
No answers yet. Because you got to think about it, because that's where it's heading. You think about the players that get those 20 million bags, that's where it's heading. He's going to get more than Isaiah. You know it, but let's get things sparked up. Words
right.
and jars.
You're right, though.
We got to talk about it.
You're right.
And now it's time for the most electrifying segment on the internet. Bum, bum, bum. It's What's Trending with JB. Live on Wake Up Woodward.
Mr. Jatumbo himself, JB Smooth.
Let's rock with them boulders.
We are coming up with new names every single day for me, I guess. But what up, chat family?
Don't
what
be
up,
in the
guys?
boulder booth then.
You're right.
you help it.
Do you like boobies? Yes or no?
Yes, that's factual.
Okay, so there it is.
I guess
It's simple math, bro.
Chase lights up every time, dog. Every time.
Simple math, bro. You like boobies?
Say it for me, bro.
Jumbo boobies.
Jumbo boobies.
I think Jatumbo's hilarious. That one gets me. That always makes me laugh, bro.
Jatumbo. Unbelievable. There's no way to transition to this, so I would just start off what's trending with this. I'm sorry, sir, but it is 7:30 in the morning. You shouldn't be doing these exercises.
Oh, no.
Oh.
What? What is going on?
Wait,
why?
Is that a dude?
So many questions.
Oh, it's like a bridge walk.
Yeah, that's tough.
It's 7:30 in the morning.
I understand gymnasts do this. What if he's not a gymnast? What would be the purpose of this?
Is that a dude?
That's what I'm trying to figure out.
I think that's a dude.
Is it? I guess it's not
I mean,
important.
they could be the leader of the marching band. You know how they like do that, like bend back with their feather hat. That's what I'm thinking.
Oh,
that's like they're like really flexible.
My man's spine in alignment.
You gotta practice it sometime.
Yeah. He ain't breaking his vertebrae.
At the gym at 7:30 in the morning, you should have picked a better spot for this, man.
Every single time I go to Michigan games and I watch the drum major do that, I'm just like, oh my god.
Now I get it. I'm
like, how does his vertebrae intact? But some people are just really flexible.
My only problem with this is my man look like he got the ballet pants on, bro. You got to throw some joggers on or something. Like, do some sweats, bro. I don't want to see your bulge at 7:30 in the morning. Bro.
But is there a bulge? Is that a dude?
Like,
he's waving at everybody.
yeah,
as he
like
goes
come
by.
on, bro. That's all. Just take the leotard off. Let's put some pants on. That's all I got.
Put some
That's all I
pants
got.
on,
I'm
man.
cool after that.
And
I'm
JB
cool.
like, why are you doing this at 7:30? Because open run start at 8. He got to be done before the Hoopers come in, bro.
Yeah.
I think he was a little late because one of the Hoopers caught him apparently. But that's just me though. That's just me. I know we missed Rod today, so he couldn't partake in the Swisher break. But you know, you can
Shout out to
always
Rod,
get
the
a
legend.
Swisher break when you head over to Taco Bell.
Word.
Wait, what?
Can you give me a Swisher Sweet?
And a Swisher Sweet. What?
A Swisher Sweet.
What'd you say? A Swisher Sweet.
That's hilarious.
Is that right?
Save this for Swisher break.
No lettuce.
We need a new intro.
That's
Can you give me a
hilarious.
Swisher Sweet?
And a Swisher Sweet.
That's funny as hell.
A what? What?
A what?
Swisher Sweet.
A Swisher Sweet. Is that right?
Set her mom up, dog.
She set her mom up for that one.
That's
which is
hilarious,
just
man.
terrible.
That's
and finally,
funny,
I
dog.
will end what's trending with this. Oh man, I hope my dude was wearing a cup. That's all I can say.
Oh boy.
Oh no.
Oh shit.
Oh no, bruh.
What is this, NFL blitz?
Everyone cannot be
damn.
Saquon.
What in this?
Yeah, not everybody meant for the hurdle, dog. It
Bro.
is what it is.
And you know what? My man led with the head. He wasn't even trying to jump
Hey,
up
yo,
at first. Look at him.
chill. My man led with the head.
That's a horrible way to get
My
hit.
man.
bro.
I don't even understand. I'm not gonna play by this thing anymore. I just, dog. I'm sorry, brother.
Oh.
It's a rough day for him.
Oh.
Like how does it run? He led with the head. Unnecessary roughness.
I like how how Homeboy spells balls.
I ain't even pee. His balls are cooked.
Balls.
It's like that add injury to insult. It's like the extra hit as well. Like, hey, bruh, sorry, but
What?
bow, right in the kiss.
Maybe he's trying to dislodge the ball.
Try to,
Didn't
come
even
on.
mean to do that,
Which
but
one?
there we go.
Hey, yo.
Hey,
That's flagrant.
That's it for what's trending, you guys.
Lead with the head.
That's flagrant, dog.
In the face.
He led with the head. That's man.
Goodness gracious. Hey, good one, dog. I see the chat. They're loving it as well, man. Definitely put those laughing emojis in the chat, man, for what's trending. JB Smooth does a good job every single week.
Yeah, he does.
And we bring that content to socials as well. JB Smooth, continue to cook up, man. It is dope every single time. I know we got to get into our mailbag segment. And before we hear from our friends, I did tee up that question. So keep that on your mind. Are you matching that RFA type deal? As is right now. Are you matching that deal based on the potential of what, I was about to say Andre Drummond can become, of what
Andre
Jalen
Drummond.
Duren can become? So let's hear from our friends, and we'll get into that mailbag.
man, we got lots of stuff, don't we, JB?
Dr. Pierce, 1800, and then, of course, Feldman, the great Feldman.
Attention sports fans, don't miss out on expert sports injury insights with Dr. Jeff Pierce from Michigan Sports and Spine. Join Dr. Pierce every Tuesday on Big The Energy, every Thursday on Ermanni and Edwards, where he's offering you top-notch injury advice, and he's broken down a lot. David Montgomery, Aleem McNeil, Alex Anzalone, Aiden Hutchinson, and the prospects of some of these players being able to make a return this year. Hey, hear it from the doc himself. And you got to trust the guy at DMAC Trust because he's here to keep you in the game performing at your best. For more info, visit MichiganSportsAndSpine.com or call 248-426-9944.
Yes, and 1800 Tequila, official tequila of Woodward Sports Lions Watch Party's head post-game show. Join 1800 Tequila and Woodward Sports every Lions game live at Hayes Social in Shelby Township and celebrate the wins with smooth 1800 Tequila, proud sponsor of your Detroit Lions. 1800 Tequila, the best taste of tequila. Drink responsibly. And then, of course, we've got to end it with Feldman. Since 1996, Feldman Automotive has been driven to provide a fast, convenient, and first-class car buying experience called the Feldman Advantage. With 18 locations as a Feldman dealership in your backyard, visit FeldmanAuto.com to find the location nearest you. Feldman Chevrolet, Detroit's #1 Chevy dealer.
Hey, and it's now time for that mailbag segment. It's the Wake Up Woodward mailbag segment presented by the Feldman Automotive Group. There we go. And I see you there, Jan. She says, smash the like button. Thank you.
Smash.
Thank you, chat family. Let's continue to run up those likes. Let's see how high we can go. Let's see if we can reach that super goal today, and maybe we unlock some giveaways later. And if you're still waiting on one, like I told you guys, hit me up in the chat. There's a lot of these that we're giving away, and we're trying to make sure that everybody gets what they're supposed to. Everybody will be taken care of who has won. So definitely make sure that if I've reached out or if you've reached out to me, email me and we'll make sure that we get that for you. Also, today's Wednesday, so you know what else? One more thing just to shout out. The 10K giveaway winner, the final score prediction giveaway that we were running on socials alongside and sponsored by Lady James. We had a winner. He will be in today to receive that $10,000 check on Big D Energy. So stay tapped in. Hey, listen, this is what Woodward Sports does, man. We for the people. We give you guys opportunities not to just be a part of the show. We have some other initiatives on the way where you guys, based on the level of super chats, can actually be a part of our show. V-Mix in. It's going to be awesome and be part of certain segments, and you're going to have even more that you're able to, win. We're going to have some giveaways as a part of this. We talked to you guys about how you support us with the super chats and how we want to be able to support you guys right back. So definitely. But we've seen people win $5,000 with the with the field goal thing. Yeah. I was there on the field. This kid kicked 3 field goals in a row from 3 different spots. Then last year, someone else won $5,000 as a part of the giveaway, the final score giveaway. And this year, someone won the $10K. So that's why I tell you guys, stay tapped in and plugged into Woodward Sports and Woodward Sports socials. We give away jerseys, merch, and cash, gift cards, food, all the time for you all. Thank you guys from all of our wonderful sponsors too. So let's get into this thing. And just real quick, as the Feldman mailbag questions are entering the chat, as is right now, are you matching that RFA type of a deal for Jalen Duren? You know he's getting at least a 20M if he reaches RFA. And it could be by that time in the market, 25 to 27. But obviously the cap will go up in that time as well.
No.
Ooh.
No, I am not. Because, and I get it, you have to think about this relative to the market, and Jalen Duren is obviously going to be overpaid no matter what, because most players in the NBA right now are. It's just, what I've seen from Jalen Duren this year, even relative to last season where he had obvious holes in his game, is a regression to the point where he's not even averaging a double-double anymore. And to me, that is disturbing. And honestly, I kind of want the Duren bros to suffer a little bit because they exist too and they get on my GD nerves. So no, I am not matching.
I gotta say no. Just based on what we've seen this season in particular, it's just like Sam said, it's a regression, man, and that's something that we don't expect to see. His interior defense has not really improved. Of course, we already know his perimeter defense is left to be desired. I can't see me matching $25 million for a center of his caliber. If he brought a little more to the table defensively, like a Nick Claxton maybe, then maybe I'd be more on board. But he just hasn't been able to show that, and he doesn't score enough to justify me paying him that money.
Bro, it's crazy to see how many people have just kind of come over to this side of the fence. Remember when we talked about this after the article? Wrote the article, talked about it like Nick Claxton is where we probably want to see Jalen Duren get to. All of the stuff we talked about before of, hearing the organization talk about Sean Kemp and things it could be. Listen, can you just be a dominant force in that paint? As it relates to focus all your energy on getting every rebound and trying to be a rim protector for this squad and being that last line of defense. So definitely. But let's get into the rest of these Feldman mailbag questions because I see them entering the chat. Shad 216 Feldman mailbag. Should Gore stop playing around and get Drummond and Reggie back? Reggie coming up the court, hitting his high step, and hits Beasley for a 3 while hyping up the crowd would be amazing. If there's one of those players, I've been saying it last year, I thought Drummond should have been a cheap backup option for us this past summer.
Yeah.
But
I'm down with Drummond. Reggie, I'm good on Reggie. But Drummond, I can open up the conversation for him.
No, Drummond, there's basketball reasons. Reggie Jackson, it's some weird Reggie Jackson nostalgia that Shad has, which is very on brand for him. But Andre Drummond, I would be okay with that.
Freddie Felt 313, Feldman Mailbag. Who's drinking a tangerine space machine with me at the watch party on Sunday? We got our brother Freddie Felt in the building. We want to see as many chat family members as possible, so definitely show up. I'm sure. Hey, listen, I'll definitely raise a glass of water as well, or maybe I'll get my mocktail. No, I was flexing with my mocktail, my mocktail at the company party, man. You can ask Justin in the chat. I know how to hold it, man. Sometimes I have my pinky up, flexing on them, bro.
My mocktail. Don't worry, Freddie. I got you, man. I'm a big connoisseur of the New Holland products. So yeah, we gonna toast one up, man.
Hey, look, Ed O'Neill, Feldman Mailbag. Build your easiest path and hardest path for the Lions to make the Super Bowl based on the current playoff teams.
I mean, easiest path, it would probably be the Seahawks in the first round.
I feel like that's a segment.
And then, do you want me to save it then?
Let's save that.
Okay.
That's the Your Wheels turn.
Yep. All right.
I like them. Shout out to Ed O'Neill. Thank you for that.
That's a good question.
Randall Smalls, Feldman Mailbag. There's more Pistons interest, man. Shout out. And when they win, this is what happens. Pistons, keep it up. Could there be a deal for Pistons to make us better? There definitely could be. You're seeing this list of players grow by the day that are going to be potentially available by the trade deadline. Those are the rumors. And there are players all across from Utah Jazz to Portland Trailblazers. Hi, Jeremy Grant. And Anthony Simons, who the Pistons have already been linked to in some of the rumors, as well as all the other players we've kind of already talked about. Star players, middling players, role players. They're honestly going to have their opportunity to make something happen at this deadline, but I believe it's going to come at the cost of how much do you value your current young core.
Vucevic. Bring him home.
Hey, that's going to be one. Shout out to Randall for sending that in. We got some more here. Big Con 51, Feldman Bellbag. Is Dan at the point of seeing if Sewell or Manu could get some reps, some snaps at DT, defensive tackle?
Man, oh man. It's, you know what? You can't do it on the football field, but as much as you can, you wrap DJ Reader and Levi Owen bubble wrap.
Sheesh, man. It's what? I'm sitting here like, how did the Lions find themselves in this position? But they're still 12-2. So.
It's so much worse than the other contenders too, which is why, like, I keep hammering this home that this is not a normal injury report. It's not even close to a normal injury report. Look at even the Baltimore Ravens, for example, don't really have anyone notable on IR, and neither do the Buffalo Bills. And you can make a list of like 15 notable people for the Lions. So if they're able to pull this off and win the Super Bowl, it will be one of the greatest stories ever told in the history of the National Football League.
It's possible. We had Wayne Laramie, who was the voice of the Green Bay Packers. The year Aaron Rodgers got his only Super Bowl, they had about 16 people on their injured list as well, and they still was able to get it done.
That's a good example.
Yeah,
and they went on the road.
Yeah.
So
and they went on the road.
There's a good, you know what? That's a good example to counter some of my skepticism earlier.
And I'm not going to doubt you. I can't like gatekeep how you feel. If this is how you look at it and how your brain processes it, that's fair. There's times when I'm wrong, times I'm right, times when you're wrong, times when you're right.
Exactly.
And at the end of the day, no matter how this thing ends, we're either going to be celebrating together or we're going to be consoling each other as fans and as brothers. So, you know what? We all hope for the same thing. We all hope for the Lions get this thing done and find a way. Jay Hart, shout out to Jay Hart, and we're going to take care of you too, brother. Feldman Mailbag, smart move by the front office to free up more cap space. More Pistons comments. Shout out to the people. With this flexibility, will they make a win-now move to capitalize on Cade's all-star season? Also, JD is killing us on defense. I've been saying for a few years now, you got to capitalize on Cade's all-star potential a long time ago. Now that he's having an actual all-star caliber season, I feel like in some parts it's too late. Yeah, we already go get this man a co-star ASAP. That's where I'm at.
But I mean, his new contract doesn't kick in until next year, correct?
Yeah.
So I mean, the window of the contract is more important. This year, new coach, new system, new GM, like it was going to be a work in progress. So if they don't make a big money move, I'm not necessarily mad, but it needs to be in consideration. Like the trade deadline, they got to do something. I don't care what it is, but you have to do something to shake up what we have now in terms of maybe bench players. But next year, you need to go get a starter, man. You got to go get another big-time scorer to join Cade and Ivy in that lineup.
It gets tougher, though, next year. Right now, the Pistons sit as a squad who, with their little maneuvering that they did, as a squad who actually has the most cap space available out of any team. So if they're going to make that type of a deal, there's only two places that they can do it. Either before this trade deadline, where you have desperate teams who are out of it and want to reload for this draft, or right before the draft, before the contracts and the cap holds of some of your other players go in. So if they're going to make that move, those are your only two spots. And the reason why I do caution against, Cade's contract doesn't start till next year is because if things aren't going right by year 3, Cade's asking out.
No, absolutely.
Those are the things that happen.
Absolutely.
So that's why I'm like, you got to have something. And maybe he doesn't. I don't want to put that
True,
out there.
but the clock is ticking. We all know
things
that.
aren't going, the clock is ticking. I know that Terry Foster is one of the ones who's covered this game longer than I have in a professional capacity. He's saying, look, if they don't do something in the middle of that contract, once you got the bread, these are some of the conversations you start having in an organization. Also would have to be looking at how do they set themselves up better for the future. So, but I do appreciate your perspective on it. Right now you're right. A few little tweaks to be able to get them to that next step.
Right.
Up. That would be a
yeah. Just don't sit on your laurels like we've seen so many Pistons organizations do. That's all I ask for.
Shot, another one. Do you think the road games are the new Lions home games since prices have been through the roof at Ford Field? I think it definitely is competitive. You talk about being able to take that money and go on the road, be able to find your little hotel deal, and then everybody is selling their tickets on the secondary market. I was told that Lions fans were able to get good deals on the Packers tickets through the secondary market, which was wild to me.
Yeah.
Because you ain't find no good deal on Lions tickets here in the city.
Ticket prices are keep going up more and more and more, especially if you're a season ticket holder right now. I've seen some of the prices. They have jumped for next year, so just keep that in mind.
I mean, if you want to go to the Bears game, it's about a 4-hour drive. The cheapest tickets I'm finding right now are $128, which that's still a lot of money, but
for a scrub ass team. But yeah,
I was about to say though, like when you, comparative to the home tickets last week for the Buffalo Bills, it seems like a bargain.
Yeah, that's real.
And another Pistons one, man. I guess we will end on this one. It's another one. Mailbag from Life with Chris. Mailbag, do you think the Pistons are in their 2023-24 Lions stage, and do you think the Pistons get rid of the young core to win now? I do believe that some of the young core, they're going to have to make decisions on, and we talked about this earlier. When you draft the way that the Pistons draft, you put yourself in RFA cap hell.
Yeah.
Because you got to make decisions. They made that decision with Killian Hayes. They made that decision with Sadiq Bey. Two of their higher drafted players, first-round picks. One a lottery pick and one a top 21
top
pick.
20, yeah.
Top 20 pick in Sadiq Bey. And he had some talent. He went to Atlanta Hawks, and we saw he did
They shouldn't have gave up on him, man. I stick by that. I don't care.
But what were you going to do? When it got to RFA, were you going to pay the man the 20 M?
Right, no.
That's the point. He was going to get more than Stu, and Stu got 16 M a year.
Yeah.
That's the point here. So now they find themselves back in this situation because you drafted how many players in that first round? You drafted Jaden Ivey and Jalen Duren. So now you have a situation where they're going to have to make a decision very, very quickly, man. They're going to have this thing figured out. It's going to be interesting to see what they do, but some of the young core will be affected. Some of the young core has already been affected. So it's going to be interesting to see.
Yeah, going to be interesting to see. And if you want to feel a little bit better about the Sadiq Bey situation, last year in his only full season with the Hawks, he shot 32% from three.
Yeah.
And that was always the crux of Sadiq Bey. Sometimes the way he would get on heaters, he looked like Steph freaking Curry out there, but he also had some epic cold spells, which we remember all too well as well. But
yeah.
He'd have a role on this team if he were still here. But
man, what?
Cap league, right?
Yeah, and I'm gonna tell people, look, if you believe in the potential of Jalen Duren, and you believe that this coaching staff can get the most out of him, then honestly, maybe when that RFA time comes, you match it up and you keep it moving. But obviously, I know people want to see those necessary improvements. But I think that's been a show.
Yeah.
I think that's been a show. I'm looking through the chat to see if there's any last ones. And it's great to see a lot of the regulars that are in the chat as well. So thank you guys for supporting us today. Shout out to our brother Matthew Broder. Cavassier Chase in the building. What up, though, brother?
Hey, what up, though? Hope you guys are having a good Wednesday. Make sure you stay tapped in. They got 49 minutes for Big D Energy. Ermanni and Edwards with Maz, Pete. They got a new intern, Maria, who's on the show now. If you guys want to check that out from 2 to 4, and then 5 to 7, they got heavyweights holding it down. So, you know, you guys know where to be. Stay tapped in, and I'll see you guys in the chats.
JB, why the sinister laugh?
Just because me and Chase were texting off camera yesterday. It's all right.
All right.
I think I have an idea.
I mean, some context clues. Just tap into the show.
I think I have an idea, but that's
tap
funny.
into. Shout out to that dude, Justin.
Missed a few days, Flannel.
I did.
It's been interesting.
I don't know what's going on here.
Hey, real quick, Banner the bootlegger. I don't understand what you said earlier in the chat, man. I ain't really get what that comment was about, but appreciate your support, man. And don't hate Flannel. Flannel is cool people.
Yep.
Yeah, Banner the bootlegger cannot.
Shout out to that dude, Justin, who's been in the building as well, holding it down on socials. But this elite booth, we got Detroit's #1 draft pick. That is KG. On the way for MVP. You already got that Rookie of the Year trophy up on the mantle, man.
Yes, sir, man. Yes, sir. It's been a hell of a year, man. If I do say so myself.
For you starts.
This December 1st started year 2.
There you go. That's what I'm talking about. MVP season.
But listen, man, I'm playing with a great MVP, player right now, so it's kind of hard to get that title, but it's cool, man. Co-MVPs, maybe. I don't know. We already tag team champions, so it is what it is, man. Shout out to everybody in the chat. You know I love y'all, man. We appreciate the support each and every day. Glad to have Flannel back on the desk, man. We missed you. And yeah, man, let's keep this shit rolling, man. I love my team. I love coming in here doing this every day. And go Pistons, man. Go Pistons.
Hey, go Pistons. Keep it going. Demolish the Jazz, please. Shout out to JB Smooth, Woodward Sports MVP in the TD booth. What up, though, brother?
Hey, what's going on, y'all? Shout out to everyone in the chat right now. Shout out to everyone staying tapped in with us. Flannel, glad to see you back here on the desk. And I got to give a happy birthday shout out to the original Glass Shatterings SOB. One, Mr. Stone Cold Steve Austin.
You damn right.
As he turns 60 years old today.
Hey.
So happy birthday to the Texas Rattlesnake.
He's 60. I still wouldn't fuck with him.
Hey, and you know what? I know that there's some people out there that carry memberships, Woodward Sports memberships here on YouTube. And we also have now the ability for you to subscribe on Twitch, on X, and on Facebook. And why is that important? Because you're going to be incentivized for that, not just maybe with some opportunity to have some giveaways thrown your way, but there is new content on the way. We got our green light. We're going to have a team that's going to start production, and there's going to be new bonus content that's going to go directly to those members and to those subscribers. Woodward Ringside is one of our pilots, one of our tests, and it's going to be our first show off the ground on the real with Neil. I'm talking about unfiltered Neil freaking rule. Anywhere from 5 to 18 minutes of heat from Neil.
I pay money for that.
Hey, you know what? Hey, your boy Kool-Aid gonna be sitting down with people. We're gonna be doing this interview style. It's gonna be dope. Catching up with the different people that I meet along the way on this media journey. Flannel Sam is going to have something cooking with Justin as it relates to Woodward Red Wings and Spinny. Like, there's going to be so much more content that we are bringing to the table, and I just can't wait. Obviously, it's about production and execution, and then after that, we're going to make sure we enrich you guys with so much more. These things will premiere. The first wave of shows will premiere Monday through Friday between Wake Up Woodward and Big D Energy. So stay tapped in. If you don't have a membership yet, you want to get one of those. If you have an opportunity to give some membership, hey, make sure other people can enjoy and what this new content is going to be. I just wanted to make sure that I stated that before we get over to Flannel Sam. Let's get this chest pass going. But Flannel Sam, the vet of the squad, the vet of the network, hey, you know what? The more things have changed, the more Flannel Sam has stayed the same. All sports knower and our Red Wings correspondent. What up, though, brother?
Glad speaking of things changing and things staying the same, happy birthday to Chris Platty from the Woodward Heavyweights, by the way.
Happy birthday, my dog, CP, young sis.
Congrats, Mr. and Mrs. Platty, on the sex. I mean, that's how babies are made, you know? Congrats to his parents, bro. Sam knows. I sent him to it on his birthday. Yeah. There's this happy birthday song that just like reminds you of like how you're made, and it's the best happy birthday song ever.
Okay, all right.
Is it by Taco by chance?
Hey, I see some of our guys, Eric Burrow and others.
Shit.
Yes, YouTube is getting that special bonus content. I see you got the membership flag by your name,
Eric.
So
Joe
you will
Burrow.
be able to see that definitely.
Yeah, but if you want a reason to really get excited about Detroit sports right now, I mean, obviously you're excited about the Lions and the Pistons, but the Red Wings, man, it's been a really not an ideal start, but starting with their win against Toronto on Saturday, including that game, they have 7 of their next 8, or now 6 out of their next 7 at home, with their one road game being at crappy Montreal. So in these next, you already got your 2 points from Toronto. So if you count Toronto in the next 8 games, give me 12 points and you're right back in the thick of things. And a lot of the is the Iser plan off track, or should Lalonde be fired, is going to be quieted. Although I don't know how people will feel about the Lalonde talk being quieted, but still, just go win some games, baby. Just go win some games.
Go win some games. And you know what? It's your boy Brandon Dan, aka Detroit Kool-Aid, your credential Pistons reporter and writer for the network. It's going to be a busy week for the Pistons. They already had a game. They won. They got a lot of charity stuff that they're doing today, and they got another game tomorrow that they need to absolutely demolish. But most importantly, chat family, thank you guys for your continued support of not just Wake Up Woodward, but all of Woodward Sports. It's been a show, and I'm hoping that you guys have a great day. I see the snow is already starting to come down, but this is Michigan. Hey, we're built for this type of stuff, man. Hey, let's rock. Have a great day, y'all. Thank you guys. Seriously.